गोपी परन धन मदन मनोहर गोपी परन धन मदन मनोहर गोपी परन धन मदन मनोहर कालिय दमन विधान कालिय दमन विधान आमल हरिना अमय विलास विपिन पुरंदर नबीन नगर बर वंशी बदन सुबास ब्रज जन पालन असुर कुल नाशन नाशन नंद गोदन रखवाला गोविंद माधव नवनीत तस्कर सुंदर नंद गोपाल यमुना तट चर गोपी बसन हरा रास रसिक कृपा माया श्री राधा वल्लभ वृंदावन नटवर भक्ति विनोदाश्रय यशोमती नंदन ब्रजवर नागर गोकुल रंजन काना श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दया करो मोरे श्री कृष्ण प्रभु दया करो मोरे तुम बिना के दयालो जगत संसार तुम बिना के दयालो जगत संसार पतिता पवन है तो मशमा पतिता प्रभु न पाइबे आरा
मुसमा पतिता प्रभु न पाइबे आरा
हा हा प्रभु नित्यानंद प्रेमानंद सुखी
आहा प्रभु नित्यानंद प्रेमानंद सुखी
कृपा बल कला करो आमे बर दुखी
कृपा बल कोना करो आमी बड़ दुखी
दया करो सीतापते अद्वैता गोसाई
दया करो सीतापति अद्वैता गोसाई
तब कृपा बोले पाई चैतन्य निताई
तब कृपा बोले पाय चैतन्य निताय
हा हा स्वरूप सनातन रूप रघुनाथ
स्वरूप सनातन रूप रघुनाथ
भट्ट जुगा श्री देवहा प्रभु लोकनाथ
भट जुग श्री प्रभु लोकनाथ
दया करो श्री आचार्य प्रभु श्रीनिवास
दया करो श्री आचार्य प्रभु श्रीनिवास
रामचंद्र संग मगे नरोत्तम दास
रामचंद्र संग मांगे नरोत्तम दास
श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दया करो मोरे
श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दया करो मोरे
तुम बिना के दयालु जगत संसार
तुम बिना के दयालु जगत संसारे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Radhe.
Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Radhe.
Jaya Mahaprabhu, 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 Mahaprabhu.
Jaya Mahaprabhu, 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 Jaya Mahaprabhu.
Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha, Lakshmi Narasingha, Lakshmi Narasingha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha.
Lakshmi Narasimha, Lakshmi Narasimha, Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha.
Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jai Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jai Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
नाम श्रेष्ठम मनुमपि सचिपुत्रमत्र स्वरूपम श्री रूपम तस्याग्रजम रूपुरीं माथुरीं गोस्थावतीं राधा कुंडम गिरिवरम अहो राधिका माधवाशम प्राप्तो यस्य प्रतिता कृपया श्री गुरुं तं नतोऽस्मि। हे गुरु ज्ञानदादीनबन्धो स्वानन्ददाता
करुणैक सिन्धु वृन्दावनस्य
प्रसीद राधा प्रणय प्रचार। हे दीनबन्धो करुणैक सिन्धु कुरु प्रसादं मयि मन्दबुधे लक्ष्यापराधे बहुपापगाधे तत्पाद पद्मे स्तुमतिश्च कृष्णे। Hey Dinabandhu, I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have obtained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the service of the son of Sachimata, the association of Srila Sarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami and his older brother Sanatan Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, the divine Radhakund and Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Sri Radhika and Madhava in Vrindavan. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss, and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavan, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself. and you are preaching the divine love of Radha through Krishna. Please be kind upon me. O friend of the lowly, O Gurudev, you are the only ocean of mercy. I am a dull fool and have committed hundreds of thousands of offenses. I have fallen into a dense myriad of sins. Therefore, grace me with your mercy, so that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet and on Sri Krishna. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens our darkened eyes and fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and Master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma.
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma.
Vandamo Isavadhana Mate.
Vandamo Isavadhana
Mate. Jahar prasade bhai e bhavathuriya jai. Prasade bhai e bhavathuriya jai. Krishna prapti hoya jaha hoite. Hoite. Guru mukha padma vakya chittete koriya ekya.
Guru mukha padma vakya chittete koriya ekya.
Arana kori ho mone asa.
Arana kori ho mane asha.
Sri Guru Charane rati aise uttama gati.
Shri Guru Charane rati aise uttama gati.
Je prasade pure sarva आशा.
ये प्रसाद पूरे सर्व आशा.
चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्म जन्म प्रभु से.
चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्म जन्म प्रभु से.
दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित.
दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित.
प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाश जते.
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 वेद गाय जहाँ रचरितो.
वेद गाय जहाँ रचरितो.
वेद गाय जहाँ रचरितो.
वेद गाय जहाँ रचरितो.
श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनार बंधु.
श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनर बंधु. বন্ধু
লোকনাথ লোকের জীবন
লোকনাথ লোকের জীবন
আহা প্রভু কর দয়া দেহ মোরে পদ ছায়া
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 এবে যশ সুখ ত্রিভুবন
এবে আস ত্রিভুজ
এবে যশ সুখ ত্রিভুবন
এবে আজ ঘুষুক ত্রিভুবন
প্রভুপাদ লইল শরণ
প্রভুপাদ লইল শরণ
হে প্রভুপাদ লইল শরণ
প্রভুপাদ লইল শরণ
প্রভুপাদ পতিত পাবন
প্রভুপাদ পতিত পাবন
জয় প্রভুপাদ জয় প্রভুপাদ প্রভুপাদ জয় প্রভুপাদ
জয় প্রভুপদ জয় প্রভুপদ জয় প্রভুপদ জয় প্রভুপদ
জয় প্রভুপাদ জয় প্রভুপাদ প্রভুপাদ জয় প্রভুপাদ
জয় প্রভুপদ 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 জয় প্রভুপদ
জয় গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব
জয় গুরুদেব 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 জয় গুরুদেব
নমো ওম বিষ্ণুপাদায় কৃষ্ণ পৃষ্ঠায় ভূতলে শ্রীমতে ভক্তি বেদান্ত স্বামী ইতি নামিনে
নমো ওম বিষ্ণুপদায় কৃষ্ণ পৃষ্ঠায় ভূতলে শ্রীমতে ভক্তি বেদান্ত স্বামী
ইতি নামিনে নমস্তে सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे
नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादिशतारिणे
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरा भक्त वृंद
श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरा भक्त वृंद
श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे
Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Nithai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nithai Gaur Hari Bol.
Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaur Hari Bol.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत वचनार भक्त वेदांत स्वामी जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद महाराज की, नित्य लीला पुष्ट भक्त सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर प्रभुपाद महाराज की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की, प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवसति गौर भक्त वृंद की, श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिगोवर्धन की, वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की, श्री श्री नवदीप मायापुर धाम की, श्री श्री जगन्नाथपुरी पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र धाम की, गंगामय जमुना माई की, समवेत भक्त वृंद की. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Gaur Premanande. Welcome.
Let him do whatever he wants. Or let him do whatever he wants to do. You won't bring so much you are kind of forcing him. Did he ask you?
No, they want to cover up till he comes.
Okay, she has already come.
Okay.
Yeah, you can put Hare Krishna there.
During the class, I need to connect the laptop.
Oh, you should have connected right now.
No, but this is being displayed right now.
No, she can switch. She can set yours right now. And whenever you want to share your laptop, sure. Let me take the accessories for the laptop connection.
Hare Krishna, we would like to welcome His Grace Hari Parshad Prabhu to our ISKCON Silicon Valley Temple. Please give a big Hari Bol. So just those who are online or those who do not know him, I'd like to introduce him and welcome on behalf of ISKCON of Silicon Valley. So His Grace Hari Parshad Prabhu is visiting us from Mumbai, and he is a disciple of His Holiness Radha Govind Das Goswami and joined ISKCON in 2002. He was born in a Gauda Saraswat Brahman family in Mumbai. His father and grandfather are both devotees of Sri Sri Rukmini Vitthala of Pandharpur. Hariprasad Das learned Sanskrit in the traditional way in his childhood and was taught the Laghu Siddhanta Komudi of Pandit Baradaraj. He has also written Sanskrit verses in the Chitra Kavya style. In 2007, Hariprasad Das was appointed assistant editor of Gopalji Publications. Hariprasad Das is an accomplished Sanskrit scholar, having studied the Astadhyay, the complete 4,000 sutras, by Panini and completing a translation with commentary of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Manasiksha in 2015. He currently compiles a fortnightly e-magazine called Sri Krishna Katha Amrita Bindu, where he regularly contributes fresh translations and articles. He holds a master's degree in information technology, graduating with distinctions from the Manipal University in 2012. He is married with a son. Hariprasad Das has been a member of the Shastric Advisory Council since 2016. With this, we would like to again welcome Hariprasad Das Prabhu to ISKCON of Silicon Valley. Please give a big round of applause and Haribol. Haribol! 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 Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. One pair of kartals. Jai Radha Madhav. करताल है It's okay. Thank you. जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यामुनतीर वनचारी यामुनतीर वनचारी जय राधा Jai Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jai Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna. So, thank you so much, dear devotees, for kindly assembling here. And today is 19th of March. It's a Saturday, so it's a weekend. Thank you so much for kindly coming here on this wonderful weekend. And I'm really thankful to the management of ISKCON Silicon Valley for kindly extending an invitation in order to speak something on the teachings of the previous acharyas. My sincere thanks also to His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu and Mother Nirakula for so expertly managing and taking care of this wonderful community of devotees here in ISKCON Silicon Valley. And my sincere thanks also to Rasraj Prabhu and Tejas Prabhu, at whose home I am staying. So thank you very much, Prabhus, and to all of you, dear devotees, who have kindly assembled here today. And the Shishta Parampara, the tradition established by the previous acharyas, is that whenever a particular program begins, it has to begin with Mangalacharan. Mangalacharan means auspicious invocations. Sometimes a question is asked, what is the need for Mangalacharan? And because there are many people in this world who begin their programs, who begin their books without any Mangalacharan. But do their programs and books get completed? Yes, they do get completed. So then what is the use of Mangalacharan if even without Mangalacharan the program is going to be a success? So at one point of time, 500 years ago, somebody asked this question to Sri Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya. And Sri Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya was one of the most learned persons in Navadvip and Jagannath Puri. So Sri Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya said that let's take the example of an atheist who doesn't believe in speaking Mangalacharan. So when an atheist begins a program or an event, or when an atheist begins writing a book, is there any atheist in the world who thinks, let my book fail or let my program fail? Is there anyone who thinks like this? No. Every atheist, in the beginning of their events or their books, the desire in their heart is, let the event succeed, let the book succeed. So even an atheist has desire for auspiciousness within his heart at the beginning of his book or event. So Sri Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says this desire for auspiciousness. What is auspiciousness in Sanskrit? Mangal. So even the atheist performs Mangal Acharan, but he performs it within the heart. So if we are devotees, why should we not verbally perform Mangal Acharan? So the books of the atheists and the events of the atheists, they succeed because in their hearts they perform one thing. What is that? Mangal Acharan. So we devotees should also perform Mangalacharan, but verbally, because we should use all our senses in the service of Rishikesha. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. So we will begin with Mangalacharan. Most of us know these verses. You can kindly sing along with me. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hare. So dear devotees, thank you once again for kindly being present here. Yesterday there was a session on Sri Padyavali of Srila Rupa Goswami, and today we are continuing Sri Padyavali, where we'll be seeing further more verses from Srila Rupa Goswami. For those who were not present yesterday, I would like to say something. Basically today, what are we going to do? We are going to try and attempt to draw some paintings. So how many of us would like to draw some paintings with me? Please raise your hands. Yes? If you would like to draw some paintings, so we will try and do that today. And but in order to draw paintings, we don't need any canvas or colors. The paintings have to be drawn on the canvas of the heart. And the colors and the brushes will be supplied by the previous acharyas. So we'll try to draw various paintings on the canvas of our hearts. See here in the temple, on every wall there is a painting. Is there any wall which is, almost all walls are equipped with a painting. So walls look good when there are paintings on the walls. Similarly, on the walls of our heart also, we should have certain paintings. But how do we draw these paintings? These paintings are drawn by the writings of the previous acharyas. And so we will try to do that today. And I also have come to sell some paintings. So would you like to purchase some paintings from me? Yes? So if you want to purchase some paintings, you have to pay a good price. I will not sell it cheap. So you have to pay some price for it. The price that you have to pay for purchasing a painting is that if you like a certain verse, which Srila Rupa Goswami has presented, then you will memorize that verse. Okay, that is the price to pay for purchasing the painting. So, I would like to begin the presentation, which is called Painting Padyavali Pictures. And so this particular presentation will try to see many verses from Sri Padyavali, a few verses from some other acharyas too. But before I begin, I would like to begin with a statement from Srila Prabhupada. So, Tejas Prabhu, can you please?
Srila Prabhupada Vacha. Pure devotees have prepared many books of knowledge on the basis of authorized scriptures. Srila Rupa Goswami and his assistants, under the instructions of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, have all written various literatures for the guidance of prospective devotees. And anyone who is very serious about raising himself to the standard of a pure devotee of the Lord must take advantage of those literatures. Purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 3.7.39.
Yeah, so very pertinent statement, and it's in the books of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada is saying that pure devotees have prepared many books of knowledge on the basis of authorized scriptures. So the previous acharyas, their contribution is the literature that they have written. It's very important to write literature. Now somebody may say, why did the previous acharyas, not do something else? Why did the previous acharyas not do any other service but only write books? For example, the 6 Goswamis. Because there is something which survives even time. There is something which is not destroyed even by the time factor. And that is Vani, or the teachings of the acharyas. Now we have preserved these writings of the acharyas, Padyavali, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Now we can maintain them for as long as we want. Everything else can be rebuilt. For example, we may build temples around the world, and after some time, the temple may need repair, and we may rebuild the temple. But there is something eternal, something spiritual, which doesn't have the quality of the material world. See, in the material world, every object undergoes 6 transformations. In Sanskrit, they are known as Shad Vikar. And these are Jayate. Everything comes into existence at certain point of time. Asti, it stays as it is. Vardhate, it grows in size. Viparinamate, it transforms or it produces some offspring, or it transforms into something. Apakshiyate, it starts dwindling, and nashyati, finally it is completely destroyed. These are Shad Vikaras, or 6 transformations that take place within every object of the material world. But the writings of the previous acharyas are not like that. Somebody may say, Jayate, well, they do come into existence at a certain point of time. Yes? No, because Prabhupada says they have written all these books on the basis of the authorized scriptures, like Srimad Bhagavatam and the Vedas. Do the Vedas ever come into existence, or are they eternal? Eternal, apaurushaya. So, teachings which are written on the basis of the Vedas, since the Vedas they don't have any date of origin. Similarly, literatures which are written by pure devotees also, they manifest in the world. So, Asti means they stay for some time. That's okay, but these literatures stay as it is for all time. Then Vardhate. So these literatures are as it is. Once Srila Rupa Goswami has written, they don't Vardhate, they don't increase in size. Viparinamate, they don't get transformed into something else. Apakshiyate, these literatures don't dwindle. Nashyati, and they will not be destroyed. So dear devotees, these literatures don't follow the Shad Vikaras, 6 transformations of the material world. This is, in itself, this proves that this literature is not belonging to the material world. Actually, it is a product of the spiritual world. And Srila Prabhupada is saying very importantly that Srila Rupa Goswami and his assistant primarily being Srila Jiva Goswami, have under the instructions of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, have all written various literatures for the guidance of prospective devotees. And anyone who is very serious about raising himself to the standard of a pure devotee. How many of us want to become a pure devotee in this very life? Yes. So, must take advantage of these literature. So we all must take advantage. These literature are meant for us. We should take advantage of this literature. Prabhupada used to quote a verse from Sri Narottam Das Thakur. Rupa Raghunatha Pade Haibe Akuti Tabe Hama Bujavo Se Yugala Piriti. Does anyone know what is the meaning of this particular set? Yes, Prabhuji.
When will I have the attraction unto the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami, and then only I can understand the confidential pastimes of conjugal rasa.
Very nice. You are native Bangla speaker?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Oh, very nice. Rupa Raghunath Pade, at the pada, at the lotus feet of Rupa and Raghunath. Haibe Akuti, when I have attachment. Tabe Hama Bujabo, then I will understand. Say Yugala Piriti, what is the loving affair of Sri Radha and Krishna. But Srila Prabhupada also translated it in another way. Because one meaning of pada is feet. Another meaning of pada is poetry. Rupa Raghunatha Pade Haibe Akuti. When I will have attachment to the poetry written by Sri Rupa and Raghunath, Tabe Hama Bujabuse, then I will understand. Yugala Piriti, the confidential loving pastimes of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. Am I correct in saying that pada means two things? Yes. So Sri Narottam Das Thakur has used a figure of speech, an ornament, shlesh, by which he has given two meanings to a single term there. So pada also means lotus feet, pada also means poetry. So if we have attachment to the padas of Sri Rupa and Raghunath Goswami, then we will definitely understand the loving affairs of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. That will be the perfection of our spiritual lives. But before I begin, I would like to specify a verse. And this verse is regarding the assembly which I desire. In what sort of assembly do I desire to speak Harikatha? And please note that the verse is very strange. Okay, so I tried to write one verse about glorifying the assembly, but I miserably failed. So let's try to see what was the verse and what is the meaning. This verse is in the meter Shardul Vikriditam. It's same as Shad Goswami Ashtakam. Vakta krura pathanugah sayajamanoPyagya chudamane Nana Vadya Karalayadi Vigunai Sampurnatamagata Nana Sthanam Chakriri Purnivasamatulam Bhojyam hi bhaktadikam Shrotaro Narasimha Deva Janakaschastvidrishi me sabha. So dear devotees, what sort of assembly do I desire? So Vakta Krura Pathanu, Vakta, the speaker who is sitting here, should be Krura Patha Anuga, a follower of the path of cruelty. Sayajamanopi, and the organizer who is organizer here? Okay, who the devotees who are organizing here? Agya Chudamani. Agya means, what is the meaning of Agya, Prabhuji? Does anybody know? Ignorant. Should be the crest jewel of all ignorant people. Please don't get offended. Okay. Nana Vadyakara. And Tejas Prabhu was playing Vadya. What should be his characteristic? Laya adi vigunai. He should have laya, alas. He should sleeping. Vigunai, these bad qualities. Sampurnata magata should be complete in him. Sthanam chakri ripur nivasamatulam. Sthanam, the place where I should be there. Chakri ripur nivasam should be full of snakes. Bhojam hi, and what should be there for eating? Bhaktadikam, we should have bhaktas, live human beings for eating. As Prashad. Shrotaro, then who will, if we eat all the devotees up, then who will be in the audience? Shrotaro Narasimha Deva Janaka. The audience should be the fathers of Narasimha Dev. Narasimha Dev appeared from where? Pillar. So only the pillar should be there in the audience. Chastvi drishi me sabha. May all my assemblies be like this. Don't want to say Haribol? No? Verse is Bibhatsaras. Vibhatsaras, the mellow of disgust. But, you can try to visualize it if you want. The Vakta is Krura Pathanuga. He's always, following the path of cruelty. So, dear devotees, Tejas Prabhu, please read the translation.
The speaker, he's a devout follower of the path of cruelty. The organizer, he's the crest jewel of all fools. The various music players, they are full of bad qualities, laziness, etc. The selected place, it is the residence of Vishnu's enemies. The matchless food, it consists of the devotees of Vishnu, cooked alive. The audience, it consists only of the fathers of Narasimhadev, i.e. only the pillars. May all my assemblies be like this.
Yes. Okay, should we begin? So there is a secret behind the verse. Let's try to see the verse again. This time let's sing together. Please don't follow me. Let's sing together. Vakta krura pathanuga sayajamannopyagya chudamanir nana vadya karalayadi vigunai sampurnatamagata sthanam chakri ripur nivasamatulam bhojam hi bhaktadikam Shrotairo Narasimha Deva Janakaschasvi Drishi Me Sabha. Vakta, there is a silent A. Akrura Pathanuga. The speaker should follow in whose footsteps? Akrura. So the speaker should be a person who follows in the footsteps of Sri Akrura. And Akrura was following which place on earth? He was looking up to which place on planet earth? Sri Vrindavan. So the speaker should be a devout follower of Sri Vrindavan. Sayajamano, and the organizer should be Agya Chudamani. Chudamani means crest jewel, and Agya normally means ignorant. But in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Aksharanam akarosmi. Amongst all the syllables, I am the syllable A. And janati, one who knows or one who knows Krishna, that person is known as Agya. So the organizer is a person who is fully versed in Krishna consciousness. Nana Vadyakara, and all the people who are playing. Layadi Vigune. Laya usually means laziness, but Laya also means rhythm. Laya and Tan. And Vigunai, Vishishta Gunai, with these special qualities. Sampurnatamagata, they should be replete with. Sthanam, and what should be the place? Chakri Ripu. Chakri refers to snake. Ripu is the enemy of snakes. Who is the enemy of snakes? Garuda. Nivasamatulam, it should be the residence of Garuda Dev. That is, it should be a temple of Sri Vishnu. Bhojam hi bhaktadikam, and for eating there should be bhakta. One meaning of bhakta is devotee, but the meaning intended here is cooked rice, because bhakta, bhat. So for eating there should be rice, etc. And Shrotaro, and who should be the audience? Narasimha Deva Janaka. The ka is added simply for ornamentation. You can remove the ka according to Sanskrit grammar rules. So Narasimha Deva Janaha, all the followers of Sri Narasimha Dev, all the devotees. Chastvi Drishi Me Sabha. May all my assemblies ever be like this. So these are the assemblies that I desire. So a verse which externally seems something else is internally something else. So this, dear devotees, is the universe of poetry. We are going to enter into the universe of poetry. And the first verse is about Krishna's teeth. So how many teeth does Krishna have? Can anybody tell me? 32. Krishna has 32 teeth. Okay? But sometimes Krishna only has 2 teeth. And a devotee poet is trying to meditate upon Krishna's 2 teeth. And we have to now start drawing paintings. I did not ask for a painting of the previous verse to be drawn because the painting was not so nice. But this verse onwards we should draw paintings. Alright? So let's begin our Padyavali with a loud Hari Bol. So dear devotees, may Vishnu's teeth protect you. Now how can Vishnu's teeth protect us? That also is a big secret. But let's see what the poet is trying to say. And this is a scene of Bhagavan Shri Krishna trying to drink breast milk from Mother Yashoda. This meter is Shardul Vikriditam, same as Shad Goswami Ashtakam. So please repeat after me. Ardhonmilitalocanasya pibata paryaptamekam stanam. Litalocanasya pibata paryaptamekam stanam. Sadyah prasnuta dugdha digdham aparam hastena sammarjata. Matra changulilasittasya vadane smerayamane muhu. Vishnu kshira kanurudham dhavala dantadyutih patuva. So we have to draw a painting in our hearts, dear devotees. What is happening? Ardhon milita lochanasya pibata. Our Krishna has just woken up from his sleep. Question arises, does God sleep? Yes. Does Bhagavan sleep? Yes. If Bhagavan sleeps, what will happen to the universe? So this is a big philosophical question. Does Bhagavan ever sleep? On one hand, we call him Animisha. Naimishe, Animisha Kshetre. Animisha means he doesn't even blink. And at the same time, we say he's sleeping. Yes, it is possible. Why? Because all opposites are harmonized in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He doesn't sleep, yet he sleeps with his eyes half closed. That is what the poet is saying. Ardhon milita lochanasya. His eyes are half closed. Pibataha, as he is drinking breast milk from Mother Yashoda. So as he is drinking, and he is becoming more and more sleepy because of drinking breast milk. There's a sort of intoxication that follows drinking your favorite substance. So he's becoming more and more sleepy after drinking. Paryaptamekam stanam. One breast is sufficient for him. He needs to drink only from one breast. But suddenly something happens. He notices something. Sadhya, immediately. Prasnuta dugdha digdham aparam. Milk is also coming out from the other breast of Mother Yashoda. So he notices that my valuable resources are being wasted. And Krishna is, he wants to take care of all his resources, prevent any wastage. Like we say in ISKCON, please do not waste Krishna Prasadam, because it is non-different from Krishna. So Krishna wants to prevent all wastage. So he sees that milk is spontaneously flowing from the other breast. So what does he do? Hastena sammarjata. He takes his other hand and tries to rub it so that, it will stop flowing. Mother Yashoda thinks, Arey, he's caressing me. So what does Mother Yashoda do? Matra changuli lalitasya vadane. She also takes her two fingers and she starts doing this to Krishna. Smeraya mane muhur. And suddenly in half sleep he starts smiling. And when he starts smiling, there are not 32 teeth. How many teeth are there? Only 2 teeth. And then suddenly, Vishnu Kshira Kanoru Dhama Dhavala. And then we see the 2 teeth of Vishnu, which are whiter than even the milk ocean. Danta Dyuti, may the effulgence of these 2 teeth, Patuva, protect all of you, dear devotees. Now question is, how can the effulgence of Krishna's teeth protect us? So the answer is very simple. If at the moment of death, we remember these 2 teeth of Krishna, then in the next life, we will find ourselves in Goloka Vrindavan, gazing at these very 2 teeth of Sri Krishna. So may these 2 teeth of Krishna protect all of you. Whenever it is said, may the teeth protect you, may his eyes protect you, may his hands protect you, so it means that may it protect you by appearing as your final memory at the time of your death. So this is the message that the author wants to give. This is by Sri Mangala Padyavali. Yes, Prabhu. Can you read the translation?
While drinking Mother Yashoda's breast milk with half-closed eyes, it was clear that one breast was sufficient for him. However, he saw milk dripping from the other breast and tried to wipe it off with his hands. Mother Yashoda too reciprocated by caressing his chin with her fingers, and he suddenly smiled to reveal his 2 white teeth. May these 2 effulgent teeth that are as white as the milk ocean protect you all.
Yes. So very nice verse. Now, another question. It's established that God sleeps. Yes? Second question. Does Bhagwan ever dream? Does Krishna have dreams? Yes. So Krishna has many dreams. Although as Vishnu he is animisha, he never sleeps, he is in Yoga Nidra. But as Krishna he always has dreams, wonderful dreams. Would you like to enter into the dreams of Bhagavan? Yes. So we will see what is going on in God's fabulous dreams. And although it seems very joyous for us to listen, Mother Yashoda was not so happy with his dreams. So we will see what happened, that Mother Yashoda was not so happy with his dreams. This meter is Shardul Vikriditam, same meter as Shad Goswami Ashtakam. Please sing after me. Shambho swagatamاسya tamita ito vamena padmodbhava Kraunchare kushalam sukham surapate vitteshano drishyase Kraunchare Itham swapnagatasya kaitavharipo shrutva jananyagira Kim kim balaka jalpasityanuchitam thut thut kritam patuva. Kim kim balaka jalpasityanuchitam thut thut kritam patuva. This verse is by an author named Sri Mayura. Sri Rupa Goswami liked this verse very much, so he included it in his Padyavali. So, Bhagavan is dreaming, Krishna is sleeping, at night Krishna is dreaming. And Krishna has a strange habit. He speaks out loudly while he is dreaming. Do any of us have this habit? Some of us may be having. Speaking out, babbling as he is dreaming. So, the poet says, Shambho swagatam asyatam. Krishna is sleeping, and in his sleep he is seeing that he is the king of the universe. Although he is a small boy in Gokul. So he is the king of the universe. And suddenly, in the assembly of the demigods, he is sitting as the king, and then he is saying, Shambho swagatam asyatam. Oh Shambhu, oh Shiv, welcome, welcome, welcome to my assembly. Come sit here on my right side. Ita, here, sit here. Vamena padmodbhava, oh Padma Udbhava, oh lotus born Brahma. Vamena, you sit on my left side. There is space here, enough space here. Kraunchare, oh enemy of Krauncha Asur, oh Kartikeya. Kushalam, is everything okay with you? Sukham Surapate, oh Surapati, oh Indra, are you happy? Is everything okay in heavenly planets? Vittesha no drishyase, oh Vittesha, oh Lord of wealth, Kubera. No drishyase, nowadays you are no longer seen. Is everything okay with you? Itham swapna gatasya kaitabharipo. Our enemy of Kaitaba was dreaming like this in his dreams. Shrutva jananya gira. So then suddenly Mother Yashoda heard that this person is speaking some non-bona fide nonsense in his dreams, which is not according to Vedic scriptures. It is not allowed for a normal person to speak like this. So Mother Yashoda immediately did something. Kim kim balaka jalpasityanuchit. Hey, what's going on? Thu. You should never speak like this, Krishna. Thu kritam patuva. May that spitting of Mother Yashoda protect all of you, dear devotees. This is the translation, Prabhu.
Shiva, welcome. Please sit down. Brahma, you sit at my left. Kartikeya, auspiciousness to you. Indra, are you doing good? Kuvera, what happened? You are not seen much nowadays. Hearing Krishna say this, Mother Yashoda said, Oh child, what nonsense are you saying? And proceeded to spit in order to prevent any ill omens. May this action of Mother Yashoda protect you all.
How can spitting protect all of us? But at the moment of death, I said, all these things can protect us at the moment of death. Okay, now, there's a very nice devotee poet because Krishna's childhood pastimes are filled with these activities of troubling Mother Yashoda. So at one point of time, Krishna ended up eating dirt. And there's a very nice devotee poet. His name is Sri Harishuri. So when Mother Yashoda caught him and asked him, have you eaten dirt? So Krishna's reply was yes or no? No. So Krishna clearly said no. So did Krishna lie? That's a big philosophical question. Does Bhagavan lie? Does Satya Narayan speak mithya? That's a big question, philosophical question. He cannot live up to his name Satya Narayan if he ends up speaking mithya, falsehood. So what to do? But Krishna ended up saying, no, I have not eaten dirt. So the commentators all come to rescue Krishna from the allegation of being a liar. And some of the best protection is offered by Sri Hari Suri, who is a very Rasik poet and a commentator on the 10th canto. His commentary is entirely in Sanskrit and the verses are full of hidden meanings. So this is one verse which he speaks about defending Krishna from the allegation of speaking lies. This verse is in the meter Indra Vajra. So please repeat after me. Mameva tu dishya vadanti sarve matastadatyanta mrishaiva yasmat bhukta maya chedakhilairapiti sambodhayan vishwamadarshayat kim. Sri Harisuri is saying on behalf of Krishna, what is Krishna's message to Mother Yashoda? Mameva tu dishya, only targeting me. Vadanti sarve, everybody is putting allegations. Matas, but oh dear mother, tad atyantam risha, it is extremely false, 100% false, that I have eaten. Why? Sri Harisuri says, Bhukta maya chet, if I have eaten, akhila irapiti, then all these boys have also eaten. Why? Tasmin stushte jagat tushtam. When Krishna ate one leaf from Draupadi's plate, the entire universe ate. I hope you are able to understand. So if Krishna has eaten dirt, then everyone, including Mother Yashoda, has also eaten dirt. So why only blame Krishna? Therefore, Sambodhayan, therefore saying this to Mother, Vishwa Madarsh, he opened his mouth to show, see, everybody has eaten dirt. So this is, dear devotees, chamatkar. The poet is able to generate chamatkar from it. Harisuri had a guru who was super learned in all the Shastras. He wrote 1,000 more verses for glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam and the pastimes of Srimad Bhagavatam. So when this particular pastime comes up, Sri Harisuri's guru also gives a realization. Would you like to hear that realization? His guru says, all glories to the dust of Sri Vrindavan. Because when a simple child takes any dust from any part of Sri Vrindavan and eats it, that dust transforms into the entire universe into his stomach. I hope you are able to understand. So this is the glory of a few particles of dust of Sri Vrindavan. When it enters into the mouth of a simple child, it transforms into the entire universe and all the planetary systems. So this is the glory of Sri Vrindavan's dust. Prabhuji, please read the translation.
Krishna opened his mouth and showed the universe to prove to his mother that all these boys are targeting me alone, and saying that it is only me who ate dirt. Oh mother, this is an absolute lie, because even if I have eaten dirt, then everyone has eaten dirt. Why then is it only me who is being targeted unfairly?
Yes. So very Rasik poet. Do you want to hear another reason? Yes. There's a very nice reason which he gives, Sri Harisuri gives for Krishna eating dirt. He says that when Krishna appeared on this planet, all the demigods, they were celebrating from the heavenly planets. All the devotees in the lower planetary systems were also celebrating. Everybody was celebrating. And they all were hankering. When will we take birth in Vrindavan? When will we get to roll in the dust of Sri Vrindavan? Is it possible that when Krishna is personally performing these pastimes on planet Earth in Vrindavan, we will ever get to touch the dust of Sri Vrindavan? So Krishna understood the desire of all his devotees. So what Krishna did is, took a little dust and ate it, because all the planetary systems are within his stomach. In this way, all 14 planetary systems and all the devotees within these 14 planetary systems received the dirt of Sri Vrindavan, the dust of Sri Vrindavan. Yes. So many reasons for the same activity. So that is a devotee poet. So this Vrindavan, actually it's dust, the grass, the leaves, they have such a flavor that even Bhagavan Shri Krishna cannot describe it. And there's a very nice verse in the Padyavali which speaks of this fact. Can you see here the painting? Krishna is standing with whom? Gopas. And behind him are whom? Cows. Right? It seems like this. But it's not so. Okay. If you look into the painting, then you will not be able to find out. You have to look into the verse. This verse is in the meter Malini. I'll try to sing it. It is by an anonymous author in Padyavali. Kathamapi tava vrindaranya mahatmya vrindam. Kathamapi tava vrindaranya mahatmya vrindam. Nahi kathayitum ucchairishvaropi ishvarah syat. Nahi katha. Api chatrana phalanam yasya lubdho rasaya. Prabhuramrita bhujama pyashrayad vatsa bhavam. Katham api, in any way, tava vrinda ranya mahatmya vrindam. O Krishna, your Vrindavan, its mahatmya, its glories, vrindam, all its glories, nahi kathayitum uchchair, it is not possible to describe. And if Bhagavan tries to describe, Ishvaropi anishvarah syat, that even Bhagavan Shri Krishna will not be capable. Even Ishwar cannot be Ishwar. Ishwaropi Ishwarah na syat. Even God cannot become God. Even God cannot become all-powerful in describing the glories of Shri Vrindavan Dham. And what is the example? Api cha trina phalanam. This grass, these fruits of Vrindavan. Yasya lubdho rasaya. Krishna himself became so eager, so greedy to taste the fruit and grass of Sri Vrindavan. Prabhur Amrita Bhujam api. He is actually the lord of those demigods who drink Amrita nectar. But he became so eager to drink the nectar of the grass and fruits of Sri Vrindavan. Ashrayad vatsa bhavam. That he took shelter of the bodies of calves and cowherd boys. I hope you are able to understand. Vatsa has two meanings. One meaning of Vatsa is calf. One meaning of Vatsa is small child. So Ashrayad Vatsa Bhavam. Why did Bhagavan become all the cowherd boys and calves in Sri Vrindavan? What is the real reason? Because Brahma stole everything away? That's the historical reason. But what is the reason in the devotee poet's heart? Because Krishna wanted to taste the fruits and the grass of Sri Vrindavan Dham. So this is the translation, Prabhu.
O Vrindavan forest, when it comes to describing the extent of your glories, even the Supreme Lord Krishna finds himself to be utterly incapable. Being desirous of tasting the grass and fruits of this wonderful forest, the very same Krishna, the Lord of the nectar-tasting demigods, termed himself into a Vatsa, cowherd boy / calf.
Yes. Can anyone tell me what is the glory of, what is special about these fruits of Sri Vrindavan? They taste like ordinary fruits, don't they? Yes or no? Some of you have been to Vrindavan. You have eaten the fruits of Sri Vrindavan. So what is the glory of Sri Vrindavan's fruits? So I would like to specify something. When Akrura came first time to Vrindavan, Akrura started rolling in the dust of Vrindavan. And at that point of time, this same devotee poet, Hari Suri, who was previous verse, he was describing the glories of Vrindavan's dust. Sri Hari Suri describes a beautiful verse at that point of time. न तादृग्भूभागो यदि हरिपादाब्जरजसा. So he says, Akrura was falling down in ecstasy, rolling in the ground, because he realized something. In Vrindavan, there is not even a small square inch of land which has not touched the lotus feet of Krishna. Yes or no? Yes? So all the sand in Vrindavan, all the soil in Vrindavan is actually Krishna Prasad. It is Uchishta, it is remnants of Krishna. Because as soon as we touch something with our feet, it becomes our Uchishta, it becomes our remnants. So the entire land of Sri Vrindavan is Krishna Uchishta, it is Krishna Prasad. Now, the trees, they are firmly rooted and they derive their nourishment from Sri Vrindavan soil. So they drink, they eat Krishna's Uchishta. Do you agree? Yes. So they receive Krishna's Mahaprasad. And when they receive Krishna's Mahaprasad, they become joyous and fruits sprout out of them. So the fruits are the Uchishta, the remnants of the trees. I hope you are able to understand. So the remnants of Krishna are the fruits. Then come the birds and animals who eat these fruits. So the birds and animals eat the remnants of Krishna. And they become so happy that they start singing out loudly. So what they sing out is the remnants of Krishna. And that entered into the ear of Akrura. And then Akrura said, today I am receiving the remnants of Bhagavan Shri Krishna. There is nobody more fortunate than me on this planet today. Thinking this, Akrura started rolling in the dust of Sri Vrindavan. So it's a different universe, dear devotees. Reading historical facts is one thing. Akrura started rolling on the ground. Shukadeva Goswami is describing what happened historically. But what's going on in the heart of Sri Akrura? So the various devotee commentators reveal that in their respective commentaries. Dear devotees, this same Krishna, his mercy is not only on the residents of Sri Vrindavan. His mercy was also outside Vrindavan on many entities. Specifically, Krishna was very, very merciful towards the Pandavas. And even more merciful than Pandavas, he was on Draupadi. Because Draupadi, he saved how many times? Many times. Yes. But the most important time that he saved Draupadi was in the assembly of Kurus. And Draupadi remembers that very fondly, that he saved me. And Krishna also saved them, all the Pandavas, from getting burnt in the palace of Lac. Krishna saved them on many occasions. But Duryodhan was always unhappy that these people are never getting into trouble. So one time when they were in the forest, Duryodhan arranged for something else. So there was a sage named Durvasa. And Durvasa he visited Duryodhan. And Duryodhan fed him very nicely, Durvasa. And Durvasa was very happy by Duryodhan's hospitality. And then Durvasa said to Duryodhan, do you want anything? So yes. What do you want? Well, more charitable than me is Maharaj Yudhishthir. You should go along with your thousands of disciples and you should visit Maharaj Yudhishthir. He will certainly feed you. But do one thing. He has Akshay Patra, which can feed unlimitedly. But you go after noon. Go after noon, because he knew that the Akshay Patra stops giving after noon. So then, Durvasa Muni, he went happily, and Maharaj Yudhishthir was informed that Durvasa Muni is coming. And when Maharaj Yudhishthir was informed that Durvasa Muni is coming, Maharaj Yudhishthir became extremely anxious. And there is nothing to do. You can't cook for, 40, 50,000 people simultaneously. You need to be king. But at that point of time, Yudhishthir is not the king. He is simple forest dweller, Vanavasi. So what to do? At that point of time, Yudhishthir became extremely dejected because he knew that Durvasa's curse is on his way. And the Akshay Patra is also almost empty. It's not producing any new food. So Draupadi, she was extremely dejected. She started crying. And she went outside the hut. And she was looking into the distance. And when she was looking into the distance, she was thinking about how Krishna saved her in the assembly of Kurus. And suddenly in the distance, she saw dust rising in the sky. Because at that very moment, Krishna had again come. So when she saw Krishna approaching, there is a very beautiful verse in the Padyavali, which is actually a composition of Sri Vyasadeva. And Srila Rupa Goswami has included this in Sri Padyavali. So when Draupadi saw Krishna coming, this is one of the first things that she said. This verse is in the meter Malini. Please try to sing after me. Tamasira virivodyan majjatama plavanam plava iva trishitanam swaduvarshiva megha nidhiriva nidhananam tivra dukkhamayanam bhishagiva kushalam no datu mayati shaurihi. So when she saw Krishna coming, the dust was rising. Suddenly there was a chariot. The chariot came near and she recognized who it was. And at that moment, Draupadi understood that all our problems will be solved now. So she said, Tamasira virivodyan, as if Tamasi, in the dark night, in the middle of the dark night, Ravir iva udyan, as if the full sun has suddenly arisen. This is what is happening. As if in the middle of the dark night, the sun suddenly rose up. Majjatam aplavanam, as if majjatam, as if some people were drowning, aplavanam, without a boat, plava iva, and suddenly somebody threw boats from the sky. Trishitanam, as if some people were walking in the desert, thirsty for many days, about to die. And suddenly, Swadu Varshiva Megha, suddenly in the middle of the desert, there comes one cloud and starts raining upon that very person who is dying of thirst. Nidhiriva Nidhananam, as if a person who is poor throughout his life, who has no means to earn something, as if suddenly a big casket of gold is dropped upon him. Tivra dukkha mayanam, and as if a person who is suffering from a fatal disease, who has no hope of recovering from that disease, suddenly bhishagiva, suddenly there comes a doctor who gives the perfect treatment to cure him. The feelings that all these people have, the feeling that a person has when suddenly in the middle of the dark the sun rises, the feeling that a person has when he is drowning and suddenly Bhagwan drops a boat from the sky, the feeling that a person has when he is dying from thirst and suddenly a cloud comes only for him, the feeling that a person has when he is extremely poor and suddenly he finds an entire casket of gold, and the feeling that a person has when he is dying of a fatal disease and suddenly, just before his death, a doctor comes and completely cures him. That feeling, in order to give that feeling to us, Today our Shauri is coming. Datu Mayati Shauri. This is the translation.
Lord Shauri, Krishna, who is like a sun rising in the darkness, like a boat to the drowning, like a rain cloud full of sweet water to those who are dying of thirst, like fabulous wealth to the poverty-stricken, and like an infallible physician to those afflicted with the most painful disease, has come to grant auspiciousness to us.
Yes, once again Shauri has come to grant auspiciousness to us. So this is Krishna's love towards all his devotees, even outside Vrindavan. Yes. Shauri means Shurasya apatyam iti Shaurihi. He who is a descendant of Shurasen is known as Shauri. Shura, very brave. He can overcome all difficulties. So when Shauri is with us, the descendant of the lineage of brave people, Shauri is with us, obviously we will have no more difficulties in life. So this is the meaning of Shauri. Yes, Prabhuji. Bishag means Vaidya. Amar Kosh, Bishag means Vaidya. A qualified physician, Bishag. So this is Datu Mayati Shauri. A very sweet verse. Please keep this meditation in your hearts. Draupadi is waiting on her door and she is looking in the distance. And suddenly she sees dust rising. So this is Shauri coming to save her. Dear devotees, we'll go back to Vrindavan. So in Vrindavan, demons always tried to create trouble in the life of Krishna. And the first demoness, we say, who came was Putana. When Putana came in front of Krishna, at that point of time, Krishna closed his eyes. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he gives 5 reasons for Krishna closing his eyes. Srila Jiva Goswami gives 3 reasons for Krishna closing his eyes. Sri Hari Suri gives 13 reasons for Krishna closing his eyes. So many reasons are given. Would you like to hear one reason from Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that one of the reasons that Krishna closed his eyes is because Krishna did not want to see with his own eyes the murder of a lady. In Vedic culture, one should never harm a lady. So Krishna did not want to see the murder of a lady committed in front of his eyes. So Krishna closed his eyes. Sri Hari Suri says, it's a very creative reason for Krishna is about to drink milk mixed with poison. All the living entities in the stomach, the entire universe is becoming afraid. Now all of us will get to drink poison. We are all about to die. So Krishna closed his eyes, turned inwards as if to console each and everyone. Don't worry, nothing is going to happen. This is one reason for Krishna closing his eyes. So many reasons are there. Another reason, one eye of Krishna is the sun, one eye of Krishna is the moon. Shashi Surya Netre, Bhagavad Gita says. So these eyes were thinking, let Krishna give any destination to this Putana, but we will not allow this Putana to pass through our pathways, because there are 2 pathways through which a yogi passes. It is described in the Bhagavad Gita, Surya Marg and Chandra Marg. One who passes through the Surya Marg never has to return back. One who passes through the Chandra Marg goes to the heavenly planets and comes back. So Surya and Chandra were thinking, let Krishna give any destination, we will close our doors for these demons. So thinking this, not Krishna, but the sun and moon god closed their doors or closed their paths for these demons. Many creative reasons behind Krishna. Simple activity, Krishna closing his eyes. But something else is going on within the heart of Sri Rupa Goswami. He writes only one reason. And this is a very sweet, pakka, perfect reason that Sri Rupa Goswami gives. Rupa Goswami says Krishna wanted to take revenge on Putana. Would you like to hear of Krishna's desire of taking revenge from Putana? Yes, all right. This verse is in the meter Shardul Vikriditam. It was originally written by Rupa Goswami in his Natak Chandrika. So I'll try to sing it. Please repeat after me. दौर्जन्यानि हृदिस्फुटानि कपट स्नेहेन संवृण्वति दौर्जन्यानि हृदिस्फुटानि कपट स्नेहेन संवृण्वति माया कल्पित सुंदरी मधुरिमा लेभे व्रजं पूतना माया तस्याः सुष्ठु तथा पयोधर रस प्रीतः शिशु क्रीडया वैकुंठेन हठाद् यथा न स पुनः मातुस्तथा पास्यते वैकुंठ Krishna is thinking, Daurjanyani hridi sphutani. In her heart, sphutani, clearly, there is Daurjanya. There is the feeling of being a Durjan. She is a ruffian within her heart. But internally she is a ruffian. But externally, Kapata snehena samvrinvat. She is covering samvrinvati with kapata sneha, with false love. Maya kalpita sundari. Actually, she is not even beautiful. She is very ugly. But Maya kalpita sundari. She has become very beautiful by the effect of Maya. Madhurima lebhe vrajam putana. And she is exhibiting this sweetness. And she has come to Vraja. And what is her name? Putana. All right. If you have come with such an ill intention in your heart, I will take revenge. You want me to suck your breast milk and die. So what will I do? Tasya sushtu payodhara tatha payodhara rasa pritah shishu kridaya. Shishu kridya. Krishna showed as if he is playing around as a child. But he drank her breast milk in such a way, thinking that now you want to kill me by drinking your breast milk. Vaikunthena hatad. Krishna forcibly drank her breast milk while cursing her that yathana sapunah matus tatha pasyate. You are feeding me poison, I curse you. In any future life, you will not be able to attain the breast milk of any mother. I hope everybody understood. You are all Sahriday. You understand what Rupa Goswami is trying to say. Because if she doesn't get a breast milk, in order to drink breast milk, one should take birth from a mother. But she will never take birth from a mother. So she was cursed by Krishna that you will never get any breast milk to drink in your future lives. So this is the wonderful revenge, auspicious revenge taken by Krishna. This is the translation, Prabhuji.
While hiding malicious intentions in her heart through fake maternal love, Putana, the witch having an illusory beautiful form, attained Vraja. Being extremely pleased with her, the Lord of the spiritual world forcibly drank her breast milk. He then ensured that she does not get to drink breast milk ever again.
Yes. So translations are okay. But the joy is in chewing word by word. That is the joy in every verse. You see, when I was so happy when I came, I was sitting in the audience, and when Shri Vaisheshika Prabhu, he was speaking on the verse from 7th canto, Itham nritirya grishideva jhashavatarair. And then the first thing he did was, he went to the word for word. And he explained the verse, not through the translation, but he was explaining through word for word. So it's such a nice culture of, and here it is present in ISV, that we are relishing verses, not directly by jumping to translation, but we are relishing verses word by word. And that is actually the culture of relishing verses. So I was very happy, and it inspired me to also do my own word for word for each of these verses. So translations are good, but we should relish each and every verse by breaking it down word for word. So in this way, our Krishna was growing up in Sri Vrindavan, and suddenly there was one particular personality who was very attracted to Sri Krishna, and that is Srimati Radharani. And when Srimati Radharani, she was growing up with Krishna, the first stage of love, when both two people see each other, that first stage of love has a technical name. And please repeat the name after me. Purvarag. Purvarag is when Srimati Radharani and Krishna, they first see each other, they have attraction for each other, but they can't freely speak to each other because of the pressure of society. So they look at each other from the corners of the eyes. Sometimes they ask mutual friends. So this feeling, dear devotees, is known as Purvarag. In today's society, Purvarag has been completely destroyed. Because as soon as you are interested in somebody, you can look up their profile on Facebook, and you will immediately get to know where they are eating, what they like, who are their mutual friends. You can watch a video or two of them singing something, right? And then where is the Purvarag? Purvarag is destroyed. Then a person immediately decides, well, I don't like this person. So, and then what is the swipe? There is an application. If you don't like, you swipe left, or I don't know what it is. Swipe left or swipe right. So, where is the Purvarag? Actually, Purvarag was when these means of communication were non-existent. And we think nowadays that we are happy. But those individuals who have lived in times when there was no facilities, they were much happier. In my childhood, I have stayed in villages. I used to spend 3 months every year. During my summer vacation, I used to spend in villages. And absolutely no mobile phones. But what I used to do is, I used to climb all the trees in my village. All the trees in my village I climbed. There was a guava tree. And good guavas are not found at lower heights. Good guavas are found higher up. Especially try to find a guava which has been pecked by the beak of a parrot. Oh my goodness. And if we could find that guava, it was the catch of the day. And then sometimes we would climb upon fig trees. In Hindi it is called anjeer. We would climb on fig trees. And in the evening, my relatives, I would sometimes demand my relatives, please take me on a bullock cart ride. So when they would go, instead of taking on a bike, we had a bike that time, but I would demand sometimes, let's go on a bullock cart. So they had one bullock cart and 2 bulls. So they would yoke the bulls on the bullock cart, and then we would put a nice, in Hindi it is called as gudadi. Gudadi means it is made out of scraps of clothes. That blanket which is made out of scraps of clothes. Then we would put that on the bullock cart, and we would sit. And there was no shock absorber in the bullock cart. So we would travel with, aching backs on the bullock cart. And in summers, when it was mango season, there used to be crates after crates of mangoes. And all varieties of mangoes. There are so many varieties of mangoes. One is called as Hafus, is Alfonso. It is the pride of Maharashtra, from where I come. So we Maharashtrians, we boast, if there is any mango in the universe which gets exported all around the world, it comes from Ratnagiri in Maharashtra, Hafus. Then there was so many other variations of mangoes which used to come. So we had crates after crates of mangoes. And early morning, on a bicycle, there used to be one ice cream wala which used to come. 1 rupee, 1 ice cream. So we all used to rush to our grandmother, and we used to cry for 1 rupee. Please give 1 rupee. So then when we would get 1 rupee, then we'd be very happy. We all would buy 1 ice cream from that ice cream wala. made using impure water, so-called, sufficient for giving us a stomach bug, but we would be very happy. And then during Makar Sankranti, would fly kites in the sky, fly kites. The entire sky would become filled with kites. That was when I was a child. I had no mobile phones, nothing. And today I say I am happy when I stay in Mumbai. Am I really happy? When I go to buy mangoes, I have to carefully decide how many mangoes I should buy. Yeah. Because it costs too much. I can't climb on any trees because the security guard will come and say, "What are you doing?" Bullock carts are not allowed on the streets. They'll cause a traffic jam. So what can I do? Am I happy? So I am not happy in Mumbai. Are you happy in San Francisco? I admit honestly, I am not happy. I am extremely distressed. I wish I could go back to my childhood with the mind of a child, with the simplicity that I had as a child. Today, I cannot have that simplicity. But still, I am so grateful that Sri Rupa Goswami created that parallel universe. Because everything that I found in my village, I found in Sri Rupa Goswami's poetry. The framework for relishing Sri Rupa Goswami's poetry was given to me in my childhood when I visited a village. So when I relish the poetry, it's not that I am thinking of Mumbai. I know that the poetry is written in a certain environment. So Srimati Radharani and Krishna, they were experiencing Purva Rag. It's very innocent love. But they are not able to meet each other. So they are always thinking of how to meet each other. And at one point of time, Srimati Radharani became extremely eager to meet him. And she is willing to try everything. And then there is one specific night which comes in a year. This night is known as Ganesh Chaturthi. Some of you might have heard, Ganesh Chaturthi. And on this night of Ganesh Chaturthi, Srimati Radharani is desiring ill reputation for herself. And this is a verse in the Padyavali. The meter is Vasant Tilakam. Please repeat after me. Tarabhisarak Chaturth Nisha Shashanka Kamamburashi Parivardhana Devatubhyam Argo Namo Bhavatu Me Sahatena Yuna Mithyapavad Vachasapyabhimana Siddhi. So dear devotees, there is a lesser known fact. I will first speak about this fact. It is described in Shastra that Ganesh Chaturthi occurs on the Chaturthi Tithi, the fourth night of the Shukla Paksh, of the bright fortnight of the month of Bhadrapad. Okay? So we celebrate Bhadra Purnima. Purnima is the full moon day. But before that Purnima, there is a Chaturthi Tithi, the fourth night. That fourth night, Bhadra Shukla Chaturthi, is known as Ganesh Chaturthi. But on that night, it is forbidden to look at the moon. It is said that anybody who looks at the moon on that particular night will get ill reputation. His name will be spoilt in society. So Shastra describes this. So one should never look at the moon on the night of Ganesh Chaturthi. But Srimati Radharani, she is out in the night of Ganesh Chaturthi and she is looking at the moon and she is saying something to the moon. What is she saying? Tara Abhisaraka, O Abhisaraka, O lover of Tara. Tara means stars. So, one meaning of Tara is stars, another meaning of Tara is Gopi. Tara Bhisaraka. Oh, beloved of the Gopi named Tara. Chaturtha Nisha Shashanka. Oh, Shashanka. Oh, rabbit marked moon, belonging to Chaturtha Nisha, fourth night. Oh, moon of Vrindavan. She is referring to Krishna. Kamambu Rashi Parivardhana. Oh, moon Parivardhana, who causes the swelling of the waters of Kama, of desire within the heart. The moon will say, please go away. It's not an auspicious night. What do you want? If you look at me, I will bring ill repute to you. She says, I understand. Argho namo, I offer water to you. Please fulfill my desire. Bhavatu me sahate na yuna. I want one gift from you. What do you want? Mithyapavada vachasa. Let a rumor spread everywhere in Vrindavan that this girl was caught with Krishna. Let everybody know in Vrindavan. Let my ill repute spread everywhere in Vrindavan. Pyabhimana siddhi. Then I will attain perfection. My desires will attain perfection in Sri Vrindavan. This is Srimati Radharani's message to the moon of the fourth night of the bright fortnight of the month of Bhadrapad. This is the translation.
O husband of the stars, O moon arising on the fourth night of the bright fortnight of the Bhadra month, O augmenter of the ocean of romantic desires, I offer oblation waters unto you, so that rumors of my love affairs with the young Krishna may spread around, and through such rumors I may attain the fulfillment of my desires.
Yes, what a unique way to fulfill your desires. Become ill-reputed. So, sometimes an extreme measure is required in order to attain the fulfillment of desire. And she is willing to try everything. And this is the last thing that she tries in order to attain the fulfillment of her desire. Finally, the moon said, Tathastu, let it be so. And Krishna sent a message through a messenger. Let's meet at this place. You know who was the messenger? The messenger was Rupa Manjari. Krishna sent a message. Let's meet at Sanket Sthal, this meeting spot. So Rupa Manjari came with the message to meet Srimati Radharani, and she said, let's go and meet tonight. He's calling you to meet. So Srimati Radharani was a little shy, because she wants to meet, but externally she's showing she's very shy. So Shri Rupa Manjari sees this, that she is, very shy, and she knows, Shri Rupa Manjari knows, when Srimati Radharani meets Krishna, she will not even look up to him out of shyness. So at this point of time, Shri Rupa Manjari speaks a verse to Srimati Radharani. And this verse has been written by Shri Rupa Goswami himself in Padyavali. This meter is a rare meter, Praharshini. Okay, I'll try to sing it. Please repeat after me. Govinde swayamakaro sarojanetre. Govinde swayamakaro sarojanetre. Premandhavarvapurarpanam sakhitvam. Premandhavarvapurarpanam sakhitvam. Karpanyam nakurudaravalokadane. Karpanyam nakurudaravalokadane. Vikrite karni kim ankushe vivada. Vikrite karni kim ankushe vivada. So beautiful verse in the meter Praharshini, rare meter. So Sri Rupa Manjari is laughing upon Srimati Radharani and she is saying, Sakhi, in the second line you will see Sakhi. Sakhi, Govinde Swayam Akaroho. You yourself did something. You yourself made a big mistake. What did you do? Swayam Akaroho. You went yourself. You were so attracted. You did not wait for him to make the first move. In love affairs, it is very important who makes the first move. And you are so simple. You ended up making the first move. Now he understands. He's a big trickster. I told you before. Now he understands everything, what's going on in your mind. You are premandha, blind in love. What did you do? I told you not to do, but you did something. What did you do? Varavapur arpanam. You were gazing at him like this, as if you offered your entire body to him. Does anyone gaze so desperately? You were gazing at him constantly, like looking at him with fixed eyes, and your hairs are standing on end, and you're breathing heavily. You think he doesn't know? You offered your entire body to him actually, by gazing at him like this. Chalo, theek hai. Now you did this, he has called you to meet him. Now, when you meet him, remember one thing. Karpanyam nakurudaravaloka. Now don't exhibit miserliness in looking at him clearly when you meet him. Okay? You've already given your entire body to him. Mentally, you have surrendered your body to him. Now, if you have surrendered the entire body to him, don't hesitate in surrendering your eyes to him. So when you meet him, look at him clearly. Why? So she gives a beautiful example. Vikrite karini ki mankushe vivada. After selling the entire elephant, are you going to argue about the price of the elephant goad? You know what is an ankusha? Ankusha is an elephant goad which is used to. So the elephant has been sold. Now don't argue over the price of the goad. So this is Sri Rupa Manjari. The verse was by Sri Rupa Goswami. Yes.
My dear love-blinded friend, you already sold yourself and your entire body voluntarily to Sri Govinda. Now, you should not be miserly in giving the tiny charity of your darshan and sweet glances. After selling an elephant, why should one quarrel over selling the elephant goad?
Yes. So very nice verse, very sweet verse by Sri Rupa Goswami. Now Krishna also met her, and then Krishna also was eager to have a second meeting. But Srimati Radharani now said, okay, if you want to meet me, that's okay. I will also come to meet you. But you have a habit of getting late. So I have seen. You are running in Indian Standard Time. So you have a habit of getting late. So instead of me waiting in the night for you, why don't you do one thing? Tomorrow, when everybody in my home is asleep, my husband is asleep, my mother-in-law is asleep, why don't you come and call me? So come tomorrow to my home. Call me. When you're outside the home, call me. So Krishna said, how can I call? No problem. When you come, make the sounds of birds, like cuckoos. You know, how does a cuckoo make the sound? You know? So when you're outside the home, just say, cuckoo. And then I will understand, because cuckoos don't make noises at night. So if the night cuckoo makes a noise, I will understand that I have to come outside. Okay. Krishna said, agreed, sir. Yes, sir. I will come tomorrow. Okay. So, but something was about to frustrate Krishna's plan. Okay. So this verse is in Padyavali. It is in the meter Shardul Vikriditam. I will sing Please repeat after me. Sanketi kokiladinadam kamsadvisha kurvato kamsadvisha kurvato Dvaronmochana lola shankhavalaya kvanam muhshranvata Dvaronmochana Keyam keyamiti pragalbhajarati vakyena duratmano Radha prangana kona koli vitapi krode gata sharvari Radha So Krishna came. Now this time he was perfectly on time. So he came outside, it was night, and the night cuckoo started calling out. Coo! So this she understood. Sanketi krita kokiladinada. And who was it? Kamsa Dvisha. The poet is also taking an opportunity to throw a pebble on Krishna. Arey, you are not afraid of Kamsa. You are the killer of Kamsa. See what has happened to you. You are afraid of ordinary cowherds. See what is the nature of love. It forces even the enemy of Kamsa to accept such a humble position in society. So this Kamsa Dvisha, it has been put for a reason there. The reason is the poet is also, taking his opportunity to throw a pebble at Krishna. So a sarcastic comment by the poet as Krishna is suffering in the night. So Kamsa Dvisha Kurvato. So Srimati Radharani understood, my night cuckoo is here, I should get up. So she quietly got up. And Dvaron Mochana, in order to open the Dwar, Unmochana. What happened when she went? Lola Shankha Valaya. So she was wearing some, what is it called? Anklets. So there was Shankha. So there was some tiny noise being made by the Shankha. Muhu Shrinvata. So somebody heard this tiny noise of the Shankha in Srimati Radharani's feet. Who was that? Her mother-in-law Jatila. Jatila woke up, say, Kayam, who's there? She's old lady, he can't see clearly. Kayam, who's there? Outside the door, is there anybody? Radha, see outside, who's there? So, Pragalbha Jarati, bold old lady, frustrated in life, who has no other purpose other than to frustrate Krishna. Vakyena, and by her loud noises, Dunatmano, our Krishna's heart immediately sank. Then what did Krishna do? Because Srimati Radharani went inside. Radha Prangana, in the courtyard of Radha. Kona, in a corner. Koli, Vitapi. There was a Badri tree. Sitting under the Badri tree. Krode Gata Sharvari. Our Supreme Lord spent the entire night in frustration, dear devotees. You see, Bhagavan also has to experience frustration when he falls in love. It's not easy for Krishna. Na? Krishna is Purna Kama. He attains fulfillment of all desires. Yes? Or is he Bhagnash, Bhagna Asha Yasya, whose desires have been shattered? Who is Krishna? Tejas Prabhu. Is he Purna Kam or is he Bhagnash? Yes. Which Krishna do you like? Second. You know how difficult the pathway of prema is? You are willing to go through all the miseries? Huh? You are willing to suffer in love? Were you not warned before? Did you not see God himself suffering in love? Still, you want to suffer? Yes or no? You want Krishna Prem? Signing up for suffering, huh, Prabhuji? Signing up for unlimited suffering. Is it okay with you? Before you enter into Goloka, they will give you a form which says that I hereby, I myself am responsible for any suffering that I encounter on the path of prema. Nobody else, not especially not Krishna, should be held responsible for this. Once you sign that, you can enter. And once you enter, yad gatva na nivartante. There's no coming back. So you can be in Vaikuntha, no problem. Become a tree in Vaikuntha, na? Observe everything nicely. Bhagavan Shri Vishnu will sometimes keep his hand on you. You will feel waves of ecstasy. No? You want to end up in suffering. You made up your mind. Theek hai, Prabhu. It's up to you. So this is the translation.
As he began to imitate a cuckoo's voice in order to indicate Radha to come out and meet him, she heard the call and walked towards the door to open it. The tinkling sounds of her anklet bells was heard by Jatila. Jatila shouted out, "Who's there? Who's there?" Hearing these bold words, our enemy of Kamsa became dejected at heart and spent the entire night hiding in a corner under a badri tree in Radha's courtyard.
You are the devotee of this personality, Prabhuji. How do you feel about being a devotee of that person who's hiding in a corner of a courtyard? You're very happy? You know what he said in the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna? He said, don't become a coward. Right? The very first instruction. Don't become a coward. This cowardness doesn't suit you, O Arjuna. Anarya Jushtam, Aswargyam, Akirtikaram Arjuna, right? So what is this? Anarya Jushta? This is Arya Jushtam. Aryas behave like this. This is Swargyam. This will lead to Swarga. This is Kirtikaram. Such behavior is going to give Kirti. Are you sure you selected the proper Ishtadev in your life? You are worshipping the proper God? Please check properly, Prabhu. Because he has a habit of giving big instructions in Kurukshetra. In his personal life, he's the exact opposite of what he spoke in the Bhagavad Gita. So sometimes I had a desire that when Krishna speaks a verse in Bhagavad Gita, so I'll write a parallel verse which will, point out the hypocrisy. So it's an unfinished project to write a counter verse for every verse that Krishna has spoken in the Bhagavad Gita. And to remind him that he did not live up to his own literature. So this is a very nice verse, dear devotees. So in this way, our love is like, prema is like a river. Every river has two embankments. Okay? So our river of love is not stagnant. It flows. And the waters flow between the two embankments. And what are the two embankments of the river of love? The first embankment is called as viraha, or separation. The second embankment is called as milan, or union. So the river of love always has to flow between these two embankments. My Shiksha Guru, Sri Srimad Gaur Govind Maharaj, he once described the nature of this river of love. Tejas Prabhu, you can read.
We have two legs, the right leg and the left leg, by which we can move. A bird has two wings, the right wing and the left wing, by which it flies. A day has morning and evening, by which it manifests. Similarly, Krishna Lila is like a river which has two embankments. the embankment of union and the embankment of separation.
Yes. So, just as we have two legs, just as bird has two wings, and just as America has two wings, right wing and left wing, right? Huh? Similarly, Krishna Prema is also a river which has two embankments. And dear devotees, and love always flows between these two embankments. That is union and separation. You can see this river. There is a very good thing about this river. One side is scorched by the sun, so it's yellow. The other side is protected in the shade, so it's more greener. I hope you are able to see that. So Viraha is that side which has the scorching heat. And Milan or union is that side which is protected in shade. And the river of Prema always has to flow. Good relationships are a combination of two things: union and separation. Constant union destroys the relationship. Please remember this. Constant union destroys the relationship. For example, if Prabhuji, your name? Huh? Keshav Krishna. Keshav Krishna Prabhu is my friend. So if I say Keshav Krishna Prabhu, you are my friend, right? So can I come stay with you, Prabhu? Yes. 1 day. 3 days. One week. Now he did not say yes. He just did. 6 months. Oh. Why you are not happy, Prabhu? I am your friend, na? Constant meeting, you are not happy? So, it's very important to understand that in order to have a good relationship, any good relationship, it's a combination of union and separation. Too much union destroys the relationship, so does too much separation. So the river of love should continue to flow between these two embankments forever. And it is our duty as Gaudiya Vaishnavas to help Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu relish both corners of this river. That is our duty as a Gaudiya Vaishnava. When we are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. One Acharya says, Hare and Krishna is when both are meeting each other. Then again Hare Krishna, both are meeting each other. Because when both meet each other, Krishna says Hare, and Srimati Radharani, what does she say? Krishna. And then Krishna says Hare, and Srimati Radharani says, when they are separated, Srimati Radharani says Krishna Krishna, and Krishna says Hare Hare. I hope you are able to understand. This river of love is flowing right in the Mahamantra. So we should understand that this is a secret. While we are doing our Mahamantra Japa, we should understand. So both embankments are needed. And Sri Rupa Goswami gives a beautiful verse to illustrate this fact. This verse was originally composed by Bharat Muni, who wrote Natya Shastra, and because of whom we today have Bharat Natyam, because Bharat Natyam means it is Natya or drama derived from whose literature? Bharat Muni. So Bharat Muni says, and Rupa Goswami repeats him as it is. No need of any change. Na vina vipralambena sambhogah pushtimashnude kashaite hi vastradau bhuyan rago vivardhate. Na vina vipralambena. Vipralamba means separation. Without vipralamba, without separation, na sambhogah pushtim ashnute. Meeting does not become tasteful. I hope you are able to understand. Without separation, meeting does not become tasteful. It doesn't get the taste. And a beautiful example is given by Bharat Muni, and Rupa Goswami repeats him as it is. Kashaite hi vastradau bhuyan rago vivardhate. Sometimes you want to color a cloth. You have a white cloth. Suppose you have a cloth like this. You want to add color to it. Now suppose you just make a bucket full of color in water and you dip this cloth inside. Is it sufficient to color the cloth? And take it out. Blue color. Make a bucket of blue color. Add blue color to it. Put the white cloth in the blue color. Take it out. You have blue colored cloth. Rupa Goswami says it's not so easy. Because the cloth will become blue, but the next time you wash it, 60% of the blue color will go away. So, kashayite. First you have to apply a special mordant dye, a chemical, that is called kashay. So, when kashay is added, and then you color it, then the raga, color, one meaning of raga is color. Another meaning of raga is attachment to each other. Vuya and rago, then the color comes out so well. I hope you are able to understand. This kashaya, mordant, is very harsh chemical on the cloth. So similarly, in order to have a good relationship, one should first apply the kashaya, the harsh mordant dye of separation. And after applying the mordant dye of separation, then you can apply the raga, the color or the love of union. I hope you are able to understand. This is the beautiful analogy given by Sri Rupa Goswami. Yes, Prabhuji.
Without separation, union does not attain nourishment. Only when proper mordant dyes are applied to cloth, etc., does the color on the cloth become extremely brilliant.
Yes. And for those of us who want to see how it is, earlier they used to color blue. In India there was Neel. Yes, Rupa Goswami has given an example from traditional India. So dear devotees, see here. Can you see? Both clothes have been dyed, but there is a difference in color. Can you see the difference in color? One of them is light blue. The other one is dark blue. Why did one of them become light blue? Because the modern dye was not applied to one of them. And the other one, it was applied upon, so it retained all the color. So first you have to apply kashay. And then when you color the cloth, then the color which will be there on the cloth will remain permanent. So first and foremost you have to apply viraha, or separation in a relationship. And then when there is union, then everything becomes nice. When there is purva rag means they are not able to meet each other, but they are curious about each other. It's a stage of separation. Is purva rag a stage of union or separation? But that is what adds anticipation to the first meeting. And when they meet for the first time, it is very tasty. I hope it's very flavorable to meet. But when you have already checked out on Facebook and you know everything, and then when you meet for the first time, yeah, hello, I bought a set of questions to ask you. Like that's what they do nowadays. Since I already know everything about you already, so I thought, what should we discuss? So I bought a fresh set of questions to ask you. Indication of destruction of Purvarag. Clear indication of destruction of Purvarag. Why does Rupa Goswami speak about it? These are emotions which all human beings experience in human society. Krishna is performing Nara Lila. Which Lila is he performing? Should Krishna also not experience all the emotions of Nara Lila? Yes, obviously. And should we, as Sahriday, also not watch that Lila and experience all varieties of humor? Yes. That is what relishment of ras is. A particular person on the stage, he performs a certain drama and the audience becomes Sahriday. When they look at him, the ras which is exhibited by the artist starts flowing in the heart of the audience. Like when they have Ram Lila, and when Sri Ram is crying, everybody in the audience starts crying. Question is everybody in the audience Sri Ram? Why did everybody in the audience start crying? Sahriday. They are empathizing with the person who is performing the character. That is our role as a Gaudiya Vaishnava. What is our service? Mansi Seva. Empathizing with the role that Krishna is taking in his Nara Lila. That is what Mansi Seva is all about. So I hope you are able to understand. So please keep this union and separation river always in your hearts. And please keep the river of Padyavali flowing always. I would like to thank all of you for kindly coming here today. Yadatra skhalitam kinchid vidvamsah purayantu tat. Yadatra saushtavam kinchid tad guroreva menahi. Yadatra skhalitam kinchid. If there's any mistake that I made, obviously I make many mistakes. But vidvamsah, you are all learned people. Purayantu tat. Please correct the mistakes. Yadatra saushtavam kinchit. But if there is anything nice in the presentation, even a single word or a syllable, tad guroreva. It belongs to my Gurujanas. Gurujanas beginning with the first Guru who taught me Akshar Gyan, my father, my mother. The Gurus who taught me how to read, how to study grammar. The Gurus who taught me how to read literature. The Gurus who gave me Diksha. The Gurus who gave me Shiksha. The Gurus who are continuously giving me inspiration. And the Gurus who are present in front of me in the form of audience. It belongs to all of you, dear devotees. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So, do we have time, Prabhuji? Time for some questions or comments? Yes. So,
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for the amazing lecture on Padyavali. And actually, I kind of really relished it. I joined, I think, few classes I joined of yours. It's very amazing the way you presented and explained. I had a question, Prabhu, about the last part you mentioned. You mentioned that as devotee, we should kind of release Krishna's Naralila pastimes that he's doing. My question is, in spiritual world also these pastimes happens, right? So in that case, those are, I mean, not Naralila pastimes then, right? He's doing it in his, like with his associates, or like you were mentioning just the pastimes in the material world, which is happening like in the Bhama Vrindavan.
right. So, the question is, are the same pastimes of Naralila going on in Golok Vrindavan that they are going in Bhauma Vrindavan? Actually, Bhauma Vrindavan is simply a Prakash Vigraha of Golok Vrindavan. It is simply a replica of Golok Vrindavan with some added specialities that in Bhauma Vrindavan you can see childhood pastimes also. Whereas in Golok Vrindavan he is eternally situated as 16-year-old. So, the same Naralila, making mistakes and stealing and then falling in love and then getting frustrated, they are going on even in the spiritual world constantly. If you read Gopal Champu is describing spiritual world. So we will find all these narrations even in Gopal Champu. And these same pastimes are a replica of those pastimes is exhibited here in the material world. Before Bharat Muni wrote about Natya Shastra and Rasa Shastra, Bharat Muni wrote a few thousand years ago, 2000 or 2500 years ago. But much before that, the rasas were demonstrated in the life of Shri Krishna. The question is, where did Bharat Muni get the inspiration of speaking about so many rasas? So Bharat Muni obviously gets inspiration from the literature which Bharat Muni has seen. And which literature has Shri Bharat Muni seen? So Shri Bharat Muni has seen all the pastimes of Shri Krishna. And therefore, seeing this, Bharat Muni has written about all the rasas. And therefore, these rasas are originally coming from the spiritual world. And therefore, Shri Rupa Goswami very correctly said that these are actually bhakti rasas from the spiritual world. And therefore, he named them as bhakti rasas and described them in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. These rasas are all originally present in the spiritual world. 5 main rasas: Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, not Sakhya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. Then Gauna rasas or secondary rasas such as Hasya, laughing, or Veera, etc. These are all present in all of them are present in the spiritual world, and they have been replicated here in this world. So, all these pastimes, along with all the humor of the pastimes, if Bhagavan becomes Bhagavan in the spiritual world, there will be no humor. So some humor has to be there. So that humor is created by these various rasas, especially in Goloka Vrindavan. So that is the answer to your query, and I hope it satisfies your query.
Yes, Prabhu, thank you very much. Sometimes, I do get into this confusion. I mean, which verse is happening where? Whether the pastime mention is happened in Roma Vrindavan or it happened in the spiritual world. But that really clarifies. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, Mataji. Yeah. At first, when I heard I was looking in the audience, who is speaking? Then I realized, oh.
Prabhu, I think Tadiya Seva Prabhu can.
Yes.
Prabhuji, you mentioned that the river of love has two embankments.
Right.
One is the separation, and the other one is Milan.
Right.
They coming together.
Right.
So you gave the example of if there is too much association, a constant association, that creates problems in the relationship.
Right.
So my question is, for example, we also associate with our Guru Maharaj, right? Guru.
Right.
So that concept, or that sutra, that principle also is applicable to the relationship between the Guru and disciple.
Yes. It is very much applicable also to the relationship between Guru and disciple. Because if the disciple constantly says, I want to stick with you, I will not let you go away, then the Guru will say, Arey, you are becoming a fly on my lap. What to do? Prabhupada used to give the example of fly on the lap. So, some services are performed directly in association of Shri Guru. For example, if the disciple is executing a fire sacrifice, yajna, so the Guru is there guiding the disciple. But some services are performed by the disciple in absence of Guru, in separation from the Guru. For example, I'll give one simple example. Early morning, the devotee takes bath, puts on tilak. Does the devotee need association of Guru in order to perform such services? No, obviously not. Guru will say, what nonsense. Let me do my services. You do your services. So some services are performed with Guru, some services are performed at a slight distance from Guru. And then there comes a time in spiritual life when there is long separation from Guru. So that is when the Guru leaves our vision. And that seva everybody has to be prepared for. But it's a difficult time for the devotee to experience separation from the Guru. So we all should be mentally prepared that someday or the other we will have to execute service in separation of the Guru. Although we will say that yes, Guru is always present in his Vani, those are good words of consolation. We know what is the vacuum in heart when the Guru leaves. So I hope you are able to understand, right? So I hope that satisfies your query.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Dandavats, Prabhu. Just an extension of that question, Prabhu. How come that the separation and this crying is considered as an epitome of seva or devotion in our sampradaya? Because whenever we are in separation, we always think about when will I see, when will I see. But when we are in union, when Krishna is in union with the gopis, they are not talking about, oh, I'll get separated so I can cry for you or something. So it seems like the real goal is to be with Krishna all the time. But if I go outside and say that there is a religion that I follow where we cry all the time to get the love for Krishna, but how it's a perverted reflection in this world. So out of my ignorance, it's really hard to understand. So can you please enlighten?
Sure. I would like to answer in the words of Srimati Radharani herself in the Padyavali. One time Srimati Radharani was asked, what do you prefer, union or separation? So she answered. And this verse is on my screen. So if my screen can be shown, it will be very nice. So this verse is Padyavali 240. And I will try to sing this verse. If it is not possible to show on the screen, no problem. I'll sing this verse. Can you repeat by hearing me? Yes? Will you try? Okay. Yes, it's here. Please, it is in Arya. Sangama viraha vikalpe. Sangama viraha vikalpe. Varamiha viraho na sangamatasya. Varamiha viraho na sangamastasya. Ekasa eva sange. Ekasa eva sange. Tribhuvanam api tanmayam virahe. Tribhuvanam api tanmayam virahe. Sangama viraha vikalpe. Vikalpe, if a choice is given, option is given between Sangama, meeting, and viraha, separation, Sri Radha says, Varamiha viraho, I select viraha. Na sangamastasya. Yeah, sangaman is incorrect typing. It should be sangamas. Na sangamastasya. I select viraha. I do not select sangama. Why? Ekahasa eva sange. When I am united with him and I am meeting him, I see him in only one place. But tribhuvanam api tanmayam virahe. But when I am separated, I see the entire universe filled with him. So this is the separation of Srimati Radharani. She sometimes loves separation from Krishna. She also loves separation from Krishna. She also understands the principle. So this verse is from Padyavali. I don't know if the translation is... Yeah, separation from Krishna is better than meeting him. When I meet him, there is only one Krishna. But when I am separated from him, the three worlds become filled with Krishnas. So... This is a good verse by Srimati Radharani, and we should aspire also for viraha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu aspired for viraha, but this viraha does not cause any pain in the heart. Doesn't cause any pain in the heart. It's a joyous feeling. It doesn't cause any material pain in the heart. Okay. So yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, go ahead, Mataji.
No, I just thanked Prabhu.
Prabhu, I was just thinking about the Purva Raga that you were mentioning. And in the spiritual world, because Krishna and Radharani already meet each other, so I'm very ignorant of this, Prabhu, I'm just asking.
Right.
So Purva Raga is, once done is done?
Yeah, no. That is the reason why Yogamaya is present in the spiritual world. Sometimes she causes from time to time some forgetfulness. It is forgetfulness is a very important part of eternal existence. Eternal existence will become very painful if forgetfulness is not a part of it. Suppose you remember, oh, I have been living for millions of years here in Vrindavan. And he also has been living for millions of years. And we meet regularly every day. Forgetfulness is very much required. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto mattah smritir jnanam apohanam cha. From me comes knowledge as well as forgetfulness. It's very important to forget. It's a very important function of the material world as well as the spiritual world. So forgetfulness is sometimes caused by Yogamaya. But childhood pastimes only happen in Bhauma Vrindavan. But this cycle of meeting, separation, it keeps happening even in the spiritual world. That's the answer to your query. Thank you. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. This question is Vishnu versus Krishna. So we are talking about if you sign up for Golok Vrindavan, this is for eternal, we may go through the feelings of separation and pain. Then we might as well become tree in Vaikuntha. But in the Padyavali, we saw that Rupa Goswami is compiling about house of Garuda. This has to be spoken. That is Vishnu temple, and then
that was my verse, Prabhu.
Oh,
that was not Rupa Goswami.
Okay,
just to clarify.
Also, extension of this, Vishnu Sahasranam is spoken by Bhishma Dev on the arrow bed, right. And the recipient of that verse is Krishna, and that is spoken among Pandavas. So that also, I had a question in that also, Prabhu. So
right. So Vishnu, what question about Vishnu Sahasranam?
So then is also we say that Sri Rama Rama Rameti. So one name of Rama is 1,000 names of all these Vishnu Sahasranam, and then we also quote one name of Krishna is 1,000 names of. So, but then our Bhishma Dev is reciting Vishnu Sahasranam. So, will that take to Goloka also, or?
Okay, Bhishma Dev's final words are described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and he glorifies Krishna using the name Vijaya Sakha, means the friend of Arjuna. And he always likes to see Krishna as Partha Sarthi. That is what this is. Vision in the Bhishma Stuti is that of Partha Sarthi. So my request is that when you please see that chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam first canto, wherein Bhishma Stuti is described, and see what names he is using to address Krishna. Because in the Mahabharata he spoke on all topics of dharma. He spoke on Kshatriya dharma, Brahman dharma, Stri dharma, all dharmas he spoke about. But that was for the benefit of the society, for benefit of Yudhishthir, so that Pandavas should have some legacy to get from him before he passes away. But in his own sadhana and bhajan, at the very end of his life, he is glorifying Shri Krishna as the charioteer of Arjuna. And that is how he left this world. And Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that he ended up attaining a section of the spiritual world where Krishna is present in Hastinapur, basically. He ended up attaining a section of Hastinapur in the spiritual world where Krishna is always seen as the friend of Arjuna and the charioteer of Arjuna. Because this was his sthai bhav, his permanent mood of reciprocation with Shri Krishna. So in his personal bhajan, he was Krishna Bhakta, but he loved to see Krishna as a friend of Arjuna. That was his mood. So I hope that satisfies you. Yes. Yes, Prabhu. He was Vasu.
He was one of the Ashtavashus. His name was Dyu. So बाकी लोग चले गए थे वापस. So he had to just stay for some more time, and then so मतलब he would have gone back to. This is also something I think about. Like he was supposed to actually just go back to this became the Ashtavasu again. But then because he glorified Sri Krishna and he was there, so he should have gone back to spiritual world.
Right. So what is the solution? Solution is very simple. Sri Jiva Goswami and other acharyas have answered that when it is said that a certain personality is, he is one of the Vasus, it means that the Vasu lends their body to that personality. But the Jiva who is occupying the body, that Jiva may be Krishna's eternal associate. So the body is given by the Devatas. Now, when all the Devatas went to the ocean of milk and they prayed because the earth was suffering, so they all prayed. Then on the ocean of milk, Lord Vishnu said, all of you appear in your parts. That is what he said. Why not completely? Because if they appear completely, then who will take what will Krishna's associates do? The Krishna's associates have to appear with Krishna. So the souls occupied by those bodies are actually Krishna's associates. But the bodies are lent by the demigods. That is the part which the demigods play in Krishna Lila. If the Vasus come entirely, then who will perform the function of Vasu? Sri Harisuri says this in his commentary. Therefore Krishna said, appear partially to all the demigods. If you see, appear partially, don't appear completely. So that was his instruction to all the Devatas in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So once if you see that section of the Srimad Bhagavatam, you will see all of them were instructed to appear in their amsha, not completely. So that is what it is. He is amsha of Vasu. He is not Vasu. He is not the complete Vasu. Which amsha is Vasu? The body which is given to that living entity is given by Vasu. That amsha is Vasu. And the Vasus are still carrying out the function of management of their respective duties in the heavenly planetary systems. Otherwise, if Indra comes and participates in Krishna Lila, then who is performing Govardhan Lila? Who is showering rains? So basically, they only come through their parts, they don't come entirely. I hope this satisfies your query. Yes.
So one more thing, I think Brahma Vaivarta Puran, it is mentioned about the curse of one of the Gopas to Radharani, that she will have to bear separation from Krishna for 100 years, 125 years, right? 100 years. So can you elaborate on that?
No, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur often used to say that there has been a lot of interpolation in Brahma Vaivarta Purana. Interpolation means there are a lot of new things have been added in Brahma Vaivarta Purana. I'll speak his opinion correctly. Srimad Bhagavatam is Amal Puran. What is the meaning of Amal? Spotless. Nothing has been added to it. Why was Srimad Bhagavatam preserved so nicely? Bhagavatam has a rich commentary tradition. So devotees from southern India writing commentary, Veera Raghavacharya, devotees from northern India writing commentary, Chit Sukhacharya, Sridhar Swami, they're all writing commentaries, so preserving the text of the Bhagavatam. Other Puranas, we can't say, and because specifically about Brahma Vaivarta Purana, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur many times mentioned that there have been interpolations in the Purana. And incidents such as somebody cursing Radha, you don't find these incidents in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Such nature is not found in the residents of Shri Golok Vrindavan. So sometimes we find some interpolations and some strange pastimes, but we should always verify with the Siddhanta of Srimad Bhagavatam. The Siddhanta of Srimad Bhagavatam is in spiritual world, there is no such thing as one eternal associate cursing the other eternal associate. So those things are not there. So the thing is, unless our Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas have cited a certain pastime, that is the litmus test of that pastime. Usually what I do is, unless the Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas have cited a pastime, so we should carefully tread when we are reading these pastimes. If we read all the literature written by Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, is there any literature in which anybody curses Krishna or Srimati Radharani? Will not find. Why have they not read Brahma Vaivarta Puran?
No, but this Gandhari cursed Lord Krishna in Mahabharata.
Huh?
Gandhari cursed Lord Krishna.
Gandhari cursed. Gandhari
he has been cursed.
That's mentioned as a historical incident in Mahabharata, and it was also commented upon by all the commentators. So the commentators certified, yes, this event happened. Neelkant is a commentator. There are 2 or 3 South Indian commentators also. They certified this incident happened because their copies are matching with each other. But Brahma Vaivarta Puran Acharyas say, our Acharyas themselves said, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, there is some mixture in it.
So these Purans, they were written by Vyasadeva, right?
Originally.
So
later there were many mixtures. Let me give you another example. Bhavishya Purana. Bhavishya Purana contains an entire section on Pratisarga Parva, which is future predictions. And there you will find prediction, Jaidev Goswami will be born, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will come. Then there are grammarians, Bhattoji Dikshit will be there, Shivaji will come. Everybody is described. Now my question is, if that is true, then why not mention names of current leaders who are there? Why does it stop at Shivaji? It stops because there is a certain reason. Bhavishya is much beyond Shivaji, right? Bhavishya is today, we are living that which was, what is today, that was Bhavishya for them. But sometimes there have been some additions in the Puranas. So this we have to be little careful about. Bhavishya Purana is full of such additions. So, simple solution is, our Acharyas therefore only cited selected things which they knew were having proper Siddhanta of Vyasadeva. You can read the other things also with a grain of salt, nothing else. That's all. I don't say that don't read. Read, but when you find some strange Siddhanta which doesn't match with the mood of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas, or it doesn't match with the mood of Sri Vyasadeva in Srimad Bhagavatam, then better keep some philosophical distance. That's all. Okay? Yes, Prabhuji.
So I have 2 questions. So my first question you've partially answered. So my question was that it is said that when Pradyumna appeared, then Kamdev goes and merges with him. So as you mentioned that probably Kamdev gave the body and then Pradyumna is the soul. But then the follow-up is that Pradyumna is a like he is himself a Vishnu Tattva, he is like completely spiritual. So why does it have to take the ashraya of the material body?
No, I was speaking about Jiva Tattvas. I never spoke about Vishnu. All those Jiva Tattvas who appear in Krishna Lila, the Devatas give an amsha of themselves. So which amsha? If those Jivas are Krishna's eternal associates, then what amsha are the Devatas giving? So the Devatas are giving a body suitable for performing pastimes. So that is that. When Vishnu Tattva is a completely different category. Vishnu Tattva has the capacity to produce more bodies. Vishnu Tattva doesn't need a body for itself. So that same analogy doesn't apply for the exceptional case of Pradyumna.
Okay. So okay. So then I have then two follow-ups. So first thing is that even in the case of the eternal associates, they have a spiritual body.
Right.
Right. Like, and the you can say like the essence, the Swarup is the same as the Swarup of Krishna. So why do they need a material body for performing pastimes?
It's a very simple answer given. Krishna Sandarbhas are very important to read Sandarbhas. Yeah. When Krishna appears in the material world,
I read it, but I didn't understand.
Okay. When Krishna appears in the material world, his dham also appears. Sri Jiva Goswami says that the dham has a partial touch of material energy. It is not completely spiritual. Okay? When Krishna's dham appears in the material world, is it 100% spiritual or does it have a touch of material energy?
The touch of material.
And this is the reason why the dham seems to be disappearing every day. See, I hope you are able to understand. Is Govardhan still there in Vrindavan? Yes. Are all the features that were there 5,000 years ago still there in Vrindavan?
No.
No. So, Sri Jiva Goswami explains in the Krishna Sandarbh that dhams are partially in contact with material energy and the effect of material energy goes on increasing with due course of time. He has a name for it and he calls it Avaranikatmika Shakti. Avaranikatmika Shakti. So it gradually covers up the dham. And similarly, the associates who also come, they are spiritual, but the jiva is obviously spiritual, but the bodies which are given, those bodies also have a touch of those Shakti with them. So the dham also has a tinge of material energy in it, this dham. And the associate, their bodies also have a tinge of it. But in the spiritual world, that tinge is also not there. So the dham there is eternal. There are no 6 transformations. Jayate, asti, vardhate, viparinamate, apakshiyate, nashyati. And there is no dwindling in the spiritual world. Simply appearance and disappearance is there. That's all. So I hope that clarifies.
Yes, Prabhu, that clarifies. And then regarding Pradyumna, how do we understand Kamdev entering into Pradyumna?
So sometimes in some special cases, a certain entity enters into one of the Vishnu Tattvas, and then it is through that entity that he regains his body, or he is able to have a body. So sometimes in certain special cases, a special arrangement is made because Kamadev had lost his body, so he appeared again through the via medium of Pradyumna. So although he is Jiva Tattva himself, sometimes Krishna can make a Jiva Tattva manifest or his mood manifest through his own body only when he is performing pastimes here in the material world. So that was an exceptional arrangement, and the Acharyas have mentioned that in the commentary to that respective chapter. So it cannot be taken as a general Siddhanta. General Siddhanta I have spoken. That is for Jiva Tattvas. That when the associates of Krishna come, then, and associates not that they're coming, all of them are coming from the spiritual world. Some are perfected entities who have perfected themselves in previous life and now are joining Krishna fresh. I hope you are able to understand. This joining. Suppose you perfect yourself in this life. Next life you will take birth in Bhauma Vrindavan. So you are joining Krishna Lila fresh. And when you are joining Krishna Lila fresh, you will be given a body. That body will be given by a certain Devata. When that Devata will give us a certain body to you, then you will be in that body. But that body has a touch of material nature, but you will never feel distress out of separation of Krishna. That is not, it will not lead to material distress. But then, once those pastimes are over and you enter into Aprakat Lila, then everything is spiritual. That is the answer to your query.
Okay, Prabhu. And you mentioned that before taking birth in Bhauma Vrindavan from the womb of a gopi, the devotee gets a darshan of Krishna and then Krishna gives him spiritual body. But then now you are saying that
Krishna gives him an identity, a spiritual identity.
Okay.
that identity is supplied for the first time in the home of Vrindavan by a devata. And then when that body is given up, it's not given up basically, that body, the material aspect is given up and you disappear into the spiritual world, so you have a spiritual. So Krishna gives the identity to you. What is your name? What is your form? In Bhaktivinoda Thakur's language, it is called Ekadash Bhav. Ekadash Bhav is given to you by Bhagavan Shri Krishna. So you have to look up, you have to do some research about what is that, but that is details of one's spiritual identity.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Okay. So, yes.
We talked about this Ekadasha Bhava and spirituality. Do we really need to worry about all those things?
No. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is no, all the sadhakas who are mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, none of them were given prematurely their identity as Siddhadeha. See all the sadhakas in Srimad. Dhruva Maharaj, did he already know who he is in the spiritual world? No. Prahlad Maharaj? No. The sages who met Sri Ram in Dandakaranya, who were in their next life going to become gopis, Rishichari gopis, did they have Siddha Pranali? No. But they were able to perfect their lives. But, so we can also follow that same path. Follow the path of Srimad Bhagavatam, that is the eternal path of perfection. But, Siddha Pranali is also a way of attaining it. So we should not deride somebody else's Pranali, although we are not following that Pranali. But our Acharyas had it. Shri Bhaktivinoda Thakur had received Siddha Pranali from his Diksha Guru, Shri Bipin Bihari Goswami. Now, if we say something against Siddha Pranali, we are saying against a Pranali which has been received by our own Acharya. So, although we in ISKCON and Gaudiya Math don't receive Siddha Pranali, but we have respect for that process. We should not disrespect that process. And at the same time, we are not feeling inferior. We will be able to attain the same perfection. So that is the answer to your query. Worry is, in this life, Krishna should reveal Ekadash Bhav. That worry you should have. Krishna should reveal in this life your Ekadash Bhav. How did Bhaktivinoda Thakur come to know what is his identity in the spiritual world? His guru gave him at the time of Diksha. He said, you are Kamal Manjari in the spiritual world. That's how Bhaktivinoda Thakur knew. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur also realized it by his bhajan. But we may not know through Guru, but we should realize it through our bhajan. That is very much possible in this life.
To your point, we should, our, sadhana or whatever we do, devotional service, such that we should aim for attaining that at the end of the lifetime, but we should not keep it as a goal.
That attaining eternal identity is our goal. Every morning in Tulsi Aarti we are singing. Ei nivedan dharo, sakhir anugat karo, seva adhikar diye karo nija. But you are Das. Why are you praying in this strange way? Right? We are praying every day that you want to become that. That aspiration should always be there. Seva sadhaka rupena, siddha rupena, cha atrahi. In this life itself, realize two identities. Okay? Yes. Yes. Mataji first, then Prabhuji. Yes. Okay.
Prabhu, just I have a question regarding the 11th bhav you were speaking. Actually, the Goswami literatures, they don't speak about that 11th bhav belongs to Sakhya Bhav or Vatsalya Bhav. It explicitly belongs to the Manjaris, or
Right. It's only restricted to Manjari Bhav.
Correct.
But still, somebody who's in Sakhya Ras, Vatsalya Ras, they don't get Ekadash Bhav. There's no Pranali of Ekadash Bhav for them. But still, one should respect the tradition which has been established, because sometimes our tendency is to deride it. But our Acharya had it. Bhaktivinoda Thakur had it. Ekadash Bhav. So why should we may not be taking it, but why should we deride something which our Acharya had? It's an unknown domain for us. So best to not say anything about it, rather than saying something negative about it. That's all.
Prabhu, I was thinking that, like you just mentioned, so in Tulsi Aarti, we are just praying to Vrinda Devi that I want to be your Dasi. So that should be our everyday aspiration when we chant. So we don't have to aspire to have, because I get always confused about, You know, in Nectar Devotion, they say that you have to aspire to be one of the devotees in the spiritual world.
Yeah, obviously. So that way, what you are praying for, Karo Nija Dasi, you are aspiring for a spiritual body in the spiritual world. Technically, it is called Siddha Deha. So, Karo Nija Dasi, although you are Dasi here as a sadhika, you are Sadhak Deha, this is your Sadhak body. As a Sadhak, you have been given a specific name. But as a Siddha, also you want to attain an eternal identity. And that identity is to be attained in the spiritual world. That identity is separate from this identity. Rupa Goswami has separated both identities. Seva sadhaka rupena siddha rupena cha atrahi. There is a verse in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Service should be in two bodies. Sadhaka deha and siddha deha cha atrahi. Not that here sadhak and there siddha. No, atrahi. In this world, you should realize both identities.
Like being in this body, I'll start off as sadhaka and then get to being in this body itself.
Yes, through the process of smaran, through the process of raganuga bhakti, through the process of mansi seva, the second identity is revealed by Krishna. And when it is revealed by Krishna, then at that point of time, the jiva is able to attain what Prabhupada calls as sampatti dasha. If I show a paragraph from Nectar of Instruction, very simple paragraph, okay? So we will try to read this paragraph. It contains everything in the words of Srila Prabhupada, because I don't want to speak something which I did not read from Srila Prabhupada. So I want to speak something from Srila Prabhupada, and I would like the screen to show my computer. And yeah, Mataji, you can please this small paragraph.
In the neophyte stage, one should always engage in Krishna Katha. This is called Shravana Dasa.
No.
Shravana Dasa, sorry.
In the neophyte stage, first thing what we should do, engage in hearing Krishna Katha, direct Krishna Katha, hear directly about Krishna. This is called Shravan Dasha, the stage of Shravan, hearing. Okay, next stage.
The stage of hearing, constantly hearing the transcendental holy name of Krishna, hearing of his transcendental form, qualities and pastimes, attain to the stage of acceptance called Varana Dasha.
So when constantly hears the name of Krishna, direct Krishna Lila is being spoken. Name of Krishna, pastimes of Krishna, qualities of Krishna. Then Krishna also accepts the devotee. Devotee also accepts Krishna as the goal of his life. Varana, Swayam Vara. What is Varana? Acceptance. So Varana Dasha. Krishna accepts, devotee accepts each other as beloved. Okay, what happens next?
When one attains this stage, he becomes attached to the hearing of Krishna Katha. When one is able to chant in ecstasy, he attains the stage of Smarana Avastha.
The stage of remembering. Third stage, Smarana Dasha. Prabhupada just calls it Avastha. Actually, Avastha is another word for Dasha. So the third stage is Shravana Dasha. Smaran Dasha. Smaran means the pastimes he starts remembering. Smaran is so important in our bhakti. Raganuga bhakti, all about Smaran. It's all about Smaran. Okay, next thing.
Recollection, absorption, meditation. Constant remembrance and trance are the 5 items of progression. Progressive Krishna Smaranya.
Yes, so very big technical subject explained in a small sentence. In Bhakti Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami has given 5 types of Smaran. Just remembering anything casually, recollection. Investing your mind in a specific Smaran, absorption. Deeply investing your mind, cutting out everything else, meditation. When you don't need to put the effort, it starts coming by itself, constant remembrance. And when only Krishna Lila remains in your mind and nothing else is there, automatically it is called Samadhi, trance. So these are 5 technical terms. Smaran, Dharana, Dhyan, Dhruvanusmriti and Samadhi in Bhakti Sandarbha. They are translated here in English by Srila Prabhupada. Okay, please read ahead.
At first, remembrance of Krishna may be interrupted at intervals, but later remembrance proceeds uninterrupted.
Yeah, so first stage was Smaran, interrupted. Gradually it becomes more deeper, then it becomes more focused. All right?
When remembrance is uninterrupted, it becomes concentrated and is called meditation.
Right.
When meditation expands and becomes constant, it is called Anusmriti. By uninterrupted and unceasing Anusmriti, one enters the stage of Samadhi or spiritual trance.
So this is all Smaran. Okay, this is how we started from when a neophyte, and see in one paragraph where we have come. Okay,
one enters the stage of samadhi or spiritual trance. After smarana dasha or samadhi has fully developed, the soul comes to understand his original constitutional position. At that time, he can perfectly and clearly understand his eternal relationship with Krishna. That is called sampatti dasha, the perfection of life.
that's it. There's your Ekadash Bhav, right there in the purport of Nectar of Instruction. How to attain Ekadash Bhav according to the eternal process given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? Yes.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for such a nectarian flow of Padyavali. And thank you for coming here and giving this class for us. My question is, Prabhu, this in Nectar of Devotion we saw these 5 rasas, right? Shanta, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. So are all our identities predetermined? Like everybody is in a certain rasa with Krishna, but we forgot. And then at some point of doing the bhajan, we will get back that particular thing. Or is it something that I don't think we can aspire for or attain it. So is it, how is it, Prabhu? I just want.
We are opening a big box now. My question is, do we have the time? And I want them to invite me again sometime. So, who is the in charge here?
So, Prabhu, we don't have end time, but if you have any other engagements, then we can do
No, I am okay. I will happily sit and speak, no problem. But the devotees who are managing, if they should not have any.
Yeah, no problem.
No problem, no? Okay. Okay. So, let's open the box. Okay? So, actually, there is a verse in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. I tried to trace the root of all this. There are 2 questions. Is our bhav predetermined? Or do we attain a bhav at a certain point of time? That question, if it is asked. So let's take the position that our eternal bhav is predetermined. Right? So if our eternal bhav is predetermined, then it means we were with Krishna in the spiritual world. Right? Because it is eternal bhav. We were with Krishna in the spiritual world. Then something happened. Then we became envious. And then we fell down. Right? My question is, assuming that you were certain person in the spiritual world. Let's say you were Sakha, so and so Gopa in spiritual world. Then you one fine day, you became envious of Krishna. Okay? Something. And then you fell down. Right? Now you are here. So now that you are here, what has happened to your eternal Swarupa? Call it eternal, and then on one side we call it eternal Swarupa, and then what has happened to that Swarupa? Destroyed? No. You know what answer some devotees give? Is sleeping in the spiritual world. And the material world is a dream. We are dreaming right now. It's a very risky philosophical position to say that we are dreaming right now in the spiritual world. Because if the material world is a dream, you are taking the same position as Adi Shankaracharya and saying that the material world doesn't exist in reality. When the very first verse of the Bhagavatam says that Tejo vari mridam yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo amrisha. The material creation is amrisha. It is not false. It is true. And on the other hand, we say we are dreaming in the spiritual world, and so if the root of the entire situation is analyzed, and I am giving my analysis of it, if the root of the entire situation is analyzed, Srila Jiva Goswami says in the Paramatma Sandarbha, and I am quoting Srila Jiva Goswami, there are 2 types of living entities. First, who are Nitya Bhagavad Unmukh, eternally who have turned their faces towards Krishna. And second, who are Nitya Bhagavad Bahirmukh, eternally who have turned their faces away from Krishna. Jiva is Tatastha Shakti, marginal energy. So the location of Jiva is Tata, margin. What is the margin of the spiritual world and the material world? What is the margin known as? Brahma Jyoti. That margin is there. Only from Brahma Jyoti and only a Jiva who is disinclined towards Bhagavan, Maya can pull from Brahma Jyoti. I hope you are able to understand. Maya has no entry in the spiritual world. That it is not possible. On one side we say, Yaha Krishna taha nahi Maya radhikar, and on second side in the same breath we say we fell from the spiritual world. Can we say two things in the same breath? No. So we have to understand that the eternal Siddhanta established by the Acharyas is that the Jivas are Tatastha Shakti, and Maya only has capability to influence those Jivas on the border who are looking away from Krishna. There are some who are absorbed in the Brahmajyoti, impersonalists, who are favorable to Krishna. Even they cannot be pulled down by Maya. Only those who are unfavorable to Bhagavan, who are in the Brahmajyoti, only they are pulled down by Maya Shakti. And when they come in this world, because they had no bhav of Krishna, eternally they had no bhav, but they have one thing with them. They may not have a bhav, but they have a container for acquiring bhav. I hope you are able to understand. They have a potential for acquiring bhav. So there is a verse in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, and somebody can show, yes. Kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya bhava sa sadhana bhida. Nitya siddhasya bhavasya prakatyam hridi sadhyata. This verse is such a verse that even some acharyas have some diverging views on this. But I will specify what is the traditional viewpoint on this. I am specifically speaking about the second line. Nitya siddhasya bhavasya. Actually, what is the purpose of all sadhan? The purpose of sadhan is to attain bhav. What is the purpose of all sadhan? To attain bhav. But Rupa Goswami asks a question. If bhav is generated, then is bhav natural to the living entity? Can an entity which is generated be a natural part of the existence of a living entity? Because a living entity is supposed to be complete in itself, right? Does it need an artificial generation of something in order to become complete? See how, what if we say that bhav was generated in the living entity, if you say that because of sadhan bhakti, bhav was generated, this word is a risky word, Rupa Goswami is saying, because it means that bhav is not an eternal thing for the living entity. If it is not an eternal thing for the living entity, it will become kritrima, artificial. Jiva Goswami uses the term in his commentary, kritrima, artificial. If it becomes artificial, then we can't say that bhava is a natural part of the eternal existence of a living entity. So Sri Rupa Goswami says, Nitya siddhasya bhavasya prakatyam hridi sadhyata. Actually, bhava is nitya siddha. So some acharyas take this interpretation, that bhava is nitya siddha. Its seed is eternally present in the heart. And simply manifestation of that is the attainment of the goal. This is the interpretation taken by some acharyas, where nitya siddhasya is an adjective of bhavasya. I hope you are able to understand. Nitya siddhasya is an adjective of, so the bhava is nitya siddha, or eternally in the heart. This is interpretation of some acharyas. Some other traditional acharyas. Nitya siddhasya is an adjective of the eternally pure devotee. Because pure devotees are known as what? Nitya siddha. Nitya siddhasya bhavasya. The bhava which is already present with a nitya siddha ragatmika bhakta in the spiritual world. Nitya siddhasya bhavasya prakatyam, appearance in the heart, is actually the attainment of the goal. I hope you are able to understand. It's very fine hair has been split here. It took me many years of breaking my head to understand what's going on. In the first interpretation, Nitya siddhasya is taken as an adjective of bhavasya. Second interpretation, Nitya Siddhasya is taken as an adjective of Bhaktasya. Nitya Siddhasya Bhaktasya Bhavasya. I hope you are able to understand. There are some Nitya Siddha Bhaktas in which world? Spiritual world. Ragatmika Bhaktas they are. Their bhava, when it appears in the heart of the sadhaka, because the container potential is already there. So when their bhava appears in the heart of the sadhaka, that is actually the attainment of the goal. I hope you are able to understand. So one interpretation is bhav is nitya siddha in the heart of the practitioner. Second interpretation is nitya siddhasya bhaktasya bhavasya prakatyam hridhi sadhyata. So the appearance of a nitya siddhas bhav in the heart of a devotee is actually the attainment of the goal. Which nitya siddha bhakta? Ragatmika bhakta who is present in the spiritual world, whom you are following in Raganuga Bhakti. So that is what completes the entire picture. Actually, that interpretation is what completes the entire picture. That the appearance of the bhav of a nitya siddha devotee, because that bhav is nitya siddha. That bhav was not generated artificially. That bhav is also what? Nitya siddha, but not in the heart of this sadhaka. The bhav is nitya siddha in whose heart? Bhaktasya, in the heart of the devotee. When that appears in the heart of the sadhaka, that is sadhyata. That is the attainment of the goal. So these are two interpretations. I don't force anybody to take any interpretation. My job is put the cards on the table. Okay? Huh? You can take whatever interpretation fits your worldview. Okay? Huh? See, my job is very simple. Yatha ichchasi tatha kuru. Okay? Huh? So the cards are on the table. I gave both the interpretations. Please keep these interpretations in your mind. Huh? Now you think about it. Think about the repercussions of taking each interpretation, all right? Then come to a conclusion by yourself. And that is what freedom is given to you. It's not that if you take a certain different interpretation from a previous acharyas, you will be condemned to eternal hell. It is nothing like that, okay? You can take a slightly different interpretation from a previous acharya, absolutely no problem. In Bhagavad Gita, Baldev Vidyabhushan and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur sometimes taking two completely different interpretations. It's not a sin to take a slightly different interpretation from one's acharya as long as one is fully respectful towards one's acharya. So think about it carefully, balance the worldviews that have been given in front of you. It is you are the sadhak, you have to make sense of everything. So whatever helps you make sense of everything, whatever helps you rationalize the entire process, yukti yuktam vacho grahyam baladapi shukadapi ayuktikam na grahyam apyuktam padma yonina. Yukti yuktam, whatever is reasonable, rational, grasp it baladapi, even from a small child. Shukadapi, or from a parrot also you should take. Ayuktikam tu na grahyam, whatever doesn't make sense, don't accept. Apyuktam padma yonina, even if Brahma himself is coming and saying. Brahma said to 4 Kumaras, get married. What did the Kumaras say? So, yukti yuktam vacho grahyam. Yes. Prabhuji, you first, then we'll go to Shastra.
Yeah. So, I have a question on whatever explanation you have given about Nitya Siddha Sap. When I was meditating on that explanation, I felt like, this is the explanation of Ragatmika and Raganuga. Right. Somebody who is in Ragatmika level, or he wants to take a position of Ragatmika Bhakta, he will consider that Nitya Bhav is the prominent thing. Right. Somebody who wants to take Raganuga, means the following of the Bhakta, Nitya Siddha, he will actually do the Nitya Siddha Bhaktasya, means that the mood of the Bhakta, right? Right. So that, like Sambandha Rupa, Sambandhanuga, Kamarupa, Kamanuga, that reconciles that concept.
Right. Yes. So everything should fall in one line. Na? Yeah? So when whatever helps us in putting all the Siddhantas in one straight line, my honest feeling, that is what should be accepted, because that is what helps me in making sense of the entire process. Otherwise, I will have a set of contradictory Siddhantas. On one set I am saying, Maya can't enter into the spiritual world. And the next breath I am saying, I fell from the spiritual world. Huh? So somebody may ask, what's going on? Huh?
I just want to summarize for my tiny brain, Prabhu. So you just said that the first part that you said is spiritual world, material world. The in between is Brahmajyoti. There is no way, which I was just reading recently, in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada very specifically says in a purport, where he says that, like Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, he's talking about those two Jaya Vijayas. He says they were able to fall because they are serving the Lord. So people who come from the spiritual world are also, they come to the material world just to, as a pastime, helping in the pastime. But nobody else can actually fall from the spiritual world, he said that. So now you mentioning that people who fall down into the material world are basically falling from the Brahmajyoti. Right. So in short, I fell from the Brahmajyoti. Right. Yeah. So that means I was envious impersonalist at some point, and then I fell. So I have to, get going. Okay. The second part that you were mentioning, Prabhu, that
You can
very
read
important.
here, see, what does Prabhupada, the conclusion is that?
No one falls from the spiritual world or Vaikuntha planet, for it is the eternal abode. Yeah, this is what I was
proved.
reading. Yeah.
What more do you need?
Yeah. So the second part, Prabhu, that you were talking about, that the jivas like us, like me, like sadhana siddha, I'm just trying to, so when I connect with a devotee in the spiritual world,
Right.
they, because of their bhakti, actually arise bhava in my
They
heart.
fill the container of your heart with a specific sthai bhav.
Okay, so I don't eternally have the bhava within me.
No. If you had,
I would have been there. Yeah,
obviously,
thank you.
if you had a sthai bhav,
Yeah.
you would have been in the sthai dham, but you are in the asthai dham. But still I say, you have a container.
Yeah, that also makes it clear that Yad Gatvana Nivartantit, whoever goes to spiritual Krishna himself says, you're not going to come back to the material world.
Right.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Shastra Sar Pradha Prabhu, then we'll come back.
Prabhu, I know this subject matter is like a tiger, and I don't mean to poke this tiger too much, but I had two questions. The first is that with Hare Krishna, with the understanding that one has, someone is thinking, I already have a sthai bhav. The sthai bhav is not manifesting right now. I'll keep doing my rounds, and someday or the other I'll feel something. I mean, Prabhu, such people won't ever be able to attain Golok Vrindavan because they won't engage in proper Raganuga Bhajan, because
Right.
they won't ever actually aspire for a mood or associate with a devotee of a particular
Right.
mood and fill up their container.
Right.
And they're like sthai bhav, like nourished by other rasas, will never happen.
Right. If everybody's sthai bhav is fixed, eternally fixed, then Tejas may be from Vaikuntha. What are you doing in ISKCON, Prabhu? Huh? Your worshipable Lord may be Tirupati, but in ISKCON we don't have any murti. So what are you doing in ISKCON? Question can be asked, right? Hai ki nahi? It only makes sense when Nitya Siddhasya is taken as an adjective of Bhaktasya. Conclusion. It only makes sense when Nitya Siddhasya is taken as an adjective of Bhaktasya and not of Bhavasya. See, such a small hair has been split in grammar, it changes everything. So, yes.
So Jiva Goswami has this term that he uses, Nitya Baddha. So you were mentioning about how Maya also has some level of jurisdiction over the Bahirmukha Jivas in Brahman. So is there also a category of Jivas that were not in Brahman, they were just eternally just Nitya Baddha in the material world?
No.
Okay.
No. Because Jiva is Tatastha Shakti. He is not Jad Shakti. So he cannot arise or he cannot eternally come from a location which is made out of Jad Shakti. The Jiva is Tatastha Shakti. So Tatastha Shakti means Tatastha, Tate Sthita, iti Tatastha. That which is situated on the border, margin is called Tatastha. Grihe Sthita, iti Grihastha. Vane Sthita, iti Vanastha, which we call Vanaprastha. Tate Sthita, iti Tatastha, obviously. So the etymology itself will not make sense. The Jiva will not, that Jiva who is eternally in the material world, will you be able to call him Tatastha? You will have to call him Jadastha. What will you have to call him? Jadastha. But there is no category of Jadastha who are eternally present in the material world.
Adi Leela, first 6 chapters, first 3 chapters.
Hare Krishna. So, first 3, maybe 4 chapters, Nityanand Prabhu explained, right? So, in the first chapter, it is explained Parshads who are there, and then the other categories are all who are not there. And then it is mentioned that Karan Rakshai Vishnu is the is the origin of all jivas. That's how it is explained. So that means, and I've seen Gaur Govind Maharaj specifically talking about that from one of the purports, that the jiva is actually coming from Karnodaksha Vishnu in that way.
Yeah. When the jiva enters into material creation, then he is a part of the material world. When material creations are destroyed, all the material worlds end up in whose body? And that is when creation again happens. The jiva comes out of whose body? Karna. That is when destruction and creation happens. That is not at the time of coming from Brahma Jyoti. So that's a different thing specified.
So then, if we ended up in Brahma Jyoti, or we're coming down from Brahma Jyoti, so how do we solve that? What was our origin? If origin is not Krishna, our origin is material world?
Yeah, Brahma Jyoti. Tata.
Tata.
That is where you are eternally present. Tata stha. What is the meaning of stha? Sthai, na?
So if it is said that Jivera Swarupa Hoye Nitya Krishna Das.
Yes. Jive's Swarup is, he is eternally a Krishna's servant. But is everybody a compulsory servant or a potential servant? How do we interpret that statement? Jiver Swarup Hoye. Swarup. Not Swabhav. I hope you are able to understand. Let's not confuse these two terms. Jiver Swarup, his eternal potential nature is Krishna Das. That Madhvacharya also says. Hare Anuchara. All of them are actually servants of Krishna. But his current Swabhav is Krishna Das. May not be true. But his Swarup, his eternal constitutional position, is to potentially be servant of Krishna. That is his eternal constitutional position. I hope you are able to understand.
I understood, Prabhu. So, but when we say we are fragmental portion of the Lord, I'm just coming to that point, right? Brahma Jyoti is considered as the origin of the jiva. That means the jiva is being created from Brahma Jyoti, or
jiva was never created. Again, risky position. Jiva was never created. If you say jiva was created at Brahma Jyoti, then that's another risky position. There is a section in Vedanta Sutra, Atmadhikaran, where Vyasdev says, no Shastra speaks about creation of jiva, so Shastras are quiet about this topic. Atmadhikaran in Vedanta Sutra. So, you can't say that the jiva was created in Brahma Jyoti.
That is because time is not
exist. Material time as we know it doesn't exist in Brahma Jyoti.
So we have, it's just anirvachaniya. We do not just...
Yeah. Yes. Please let me know when to stop, when temple time is, whatever.
Prabhu, currently, how can I know if I am practicing Raganuga or Vaidhi, and will Vaidhi directly turn to Raganuga automatically, or do I need to put some external effort?
If you are following bhakti only because it is mentioned in Shastra that you should practice bhakti, why are you following bhakti today? Why? Who told you to chant rounds?
Prabhupada, devotees.
Prabhupada said, na? Prabhupada says because it is said where?
Kalisandana Upanishad.
Shastra, na?
Shastras, yes.
When you are following bhakti because of the shasan of Shastra, because of the discipline of Shastra, and that is the only reason, that is called as Vaidhi bhakti.
Okay.
And when you are following because you have lobha, greed, and that greed has a specific nature, laulyam, it is described in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, and not because of Shastra's discipline, and that becomes Raganuga Bhakti. But that's a big discussion on what laulyam, lobha is, what is the exact nature of it. But as of now, if you are following bhakti simply because someone or some Shastra has given some discipline to follow, and if that is the sole reason for following it, then you are following Vaidhi bhakti. That is the litmus test.
So will this automatically turn to Raganuga at some point, or do I need to put some effort, or how will the transition happen?
That itself is a big subject. How do you transition into Raganuga bhakti? You will need association of specific minded individuals who are already executing Raganuga bhakti. You'll need to come in contact with them, and you'll need to learn from them. Automatic, there is no mechanical formula. Tatra laulyam api mulyam ekalam janma koti sukritairna labhyate. Acharyas have given their verdict. After millions of births of piety also, there is no guarantee that laulyam will be generated. How to generate it? Why should I give all the secrets in one lecture? How to generate? Let it pinch in your heart. Very nice. Let it pinch in your heart.
But in the Prabhupada's, the final conclusion, not here, in the previous one where we are going through the stages until Samadhi, they just started with hearing. They just started with...
Hearing from which sadhu? Someone who is teaching you rules and regulations? Or someone who is teaching you Raganuga Bhakti? How will you become attached to Krishna? In that purport, Prabhupada said you become attached to hearing only about Krishna. How will you become that? By following some rules and regulations. If it was so easy, that simply by following rules and regulations one could attain Krishna, then it would simply be an exercise, a mechanical exercise. Krishna himself doesn't want you to attain Raganuga Bhakti. Please remember this thing. The major obstruction in your path to Raganuga Bhakti is Krishna himself. One of the 6, I'm not speculating here, one of the 6 characteristics of Uttama Bhakti is Sudurlabha. It is very rarely attained. While analyzing Sudurlabha in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Rupa Goswami says there is 2 reasons why it is Sudurlabha. Without attachment, without rag, if you practice it, so definitely you are not going to get it. And even with attachment, even with rag, you practice it, Krishna still doesn't want to give it easily. Do you understand Hindi? Hindi समझते?
Yes.
झगड़ के लेना पड़ेगा. ऐसा है. ऐसे नहीं मिलेगा. Yes, we can have another topic. Yes.
Can I ask? So, Prabhu, in the beginning of the class, you said you are going to tell some slokas from the scripture, and you mentioned like some pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So, as you yourself have mentioned earlier, the name of Srimati Radharani is indirectly mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, and it is not mentioned in Vishnu Puran. So, how do we take it? Like, do we take it in the same way as Veda Vyas, that Rupa Goswami was in Samadhi, and then in Samadhi he had the perception, and it was Vaidusha, so therefore that perception we take it as Shabda. So, so in that sense, like it is only applicable to the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, because other people may not accept the authenticity of what you presented from scriptures.
See, we are not worried about who accepts authenticity of Padyavali or not. The thing is, we have proven it in person, Pratyaksh Praman, that Gaudiya Vaishnavism is all attractive to all people around the world. And so there is no further proof is needed. That Gaudiya Vaishnavism spread throughout the world, everybody accepted the worship of Sri Radha and Krishna in the mood of the Vrajvasis. What further Praman is needed besides Pratyaksha? Somebody may not accept Rupa Goswami and somebody may be unfavorable. Those people are always there. But Madhyam Adhikari, what he does is Upeksha. There are 3 things that a Madhyam Adhikari does. And Prema Maitri Kripa Upeksha Yaha Karoti Sa Madhyamaha. That Upeksha, somebody who is envious of the Acharyas. Upeksha, what? Acharyas have nothing to prove. You will find all varieties of genius in the writings of the Acharyas. Rupa Goswami has written simple poetry, to intricate poetry such as Chitra Kavya, to the most bhavuk poetry. He described Radha Krishna pastimes like nobody else has. So, I think we should pause now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Thank you, Prabhu, very much for coming here. Let's give a round of applause for him. I know we could have unlimited discussion, but Prabhu has another engagement, and then we also need to wrap up. So sorry for that. But tomorrow again we'll have an association with him along with Indranu Maharaj tomorrow evening. So please do come to attend this program. And he is there in Bay Area for another 3 days. So if you have an opportunity to attend the programs, please do that. And then we see him next time. Until next time. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.